Hello, my name is HQ of HQ Reacts. Welcome to my channel. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button, share the stream, and click the notification button for new content.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. We are here. We are here. Y'all see the thumbnail, right? Civil Rights Act. And there's a lot of controversy around the Civil Rights Act and the things that were said and the things that are being said. Not necessarily just by Charlie Kirk, but it's about other people who are saying a couple things. The same things as what Charlie said. Okay? And I can't but help wonder why this would be an issue. Why would this be an issue? And why would it be so much at the forefront of people's minds regarding this? And the reason why it's an interesting subject is because it never would have been any kind of controversy about it. But since someone took Charlie Kirk's life, that's why it became to the forefront. And that's why it's important now, because people are starting to interpret that same thing that Charlie was interpreting it as. It seems to be the argument that people have that the Civil Rights Act should not have been enacted. So, Civil Rights Act was one of the most important pieces of legislation in U.S. history. It was. It outlaws racial segregation and discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, especially in public places, employment, and education. And the reason why it's important, and somebody in the chat says, oh, you're like 10 years behind. No, I'm not. Because you all interpreted the DEI, you all interpreted affirmative action, you all interpreted that as a part of the Civil Rights Act. And we explain why the Civil Rights Act was as important as it was. Because apparently people who say DEI and affirmative action were not needed or not needed now didn't understand the Civil Rights Act at all. It was a law, an act that outlawed racial segregation and discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, especially in public places, employment, and education. Okay? Racial segregation in 1964 was legal. Racial segregation was legal right before I was born. It was legal, particularly in the South, under Jim Crow laws. Black Americans and Hispanic people and other minorities faced discrimination in schools, restaurants, jobs, housing, voting, etc. Black Americans faced discrimination all over the United States. The civil rights movement of the 1950s and the 1960s led to figures like Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, countless activists that pushed federal government to act. This act was meant to end systematic racism and ensure equal equality. President John F. Kennedy developed it. He proposed it in 1963 after major civil rights demonstrations around the country, including Birmingham and the March on Washington later on that year. The Attorney General, Robert F. Kennedy, Civil rights leaders worked together to draft that legislation. So, since Kennedy was assassinated in 1963, right before my birthday, or either on my birthday, one or two, Lyndon B. Johnson took up this legislation. Okay. How can it be? Civil rights protests and national outrage over racial violence in the South put pressure on Congress to act. Southern senators, led by Strom Thurmond, tried to filibuster for 75 days, one of the longest filibusters in U.S. history. President Johnson used his political skill to get this act passed. He used Republican minority leader, I guess it was Everett Dixon, to get this passed and got the votes that he needed. And it was passed 1964. Lyndon B. Johnson signed it. He said, "We believe that all men are created equal." Hey, Rainbow. Hi, Princess. Toto Boy. Yet many are denied equal treatment. We cannot stand by and not act. This is how 1964 Act came into effect. It affected Black Americans, Hispanics, Asians, women, employers, schools, businesses, public facilities. Okay, that meant we had to have equal rights, equal protections, and women who were newly protected under the sex clause titled number 8, right? So it also gave the government also formed the department. It also formed power. It also gave the government, like the Department of Justice and the Equal Opportunity Commission, power to enforce these laws. Okay. Title 2 was outlawing discrimination in public places. Title 3 was encouraging school desegregation. Number 6 was prohibited in government funded programs. And Title 7 was banned employment discrimination. So out of that Civil Rights Act in 1964, we got the Voting Rights Act and we got the Fair Housing Act. This was a turning point in this country. Okay. Now, let me tell you how it was before the Civil Rights Act was enacted. Before the Civil Rights Act of 1964, right before I was born, this was right before I was born. I was born after the law came into effect. Right before I was born, 1964, especially in the South, this nation was deeply divided by race and law. Segregation was not only a cultural practice, it was legally protected under the doctrine of separate but equal, which came from the 1896 Supreme Court case Plessy versus Ferguson or something like that. In reality, things were separate but nowhere near equal. Okay? Nowhere near equal. Life before 1964 Civil Rights Act. There were whites only signs. Whites only sign. A lot of y'all ain't never seen those whites only signs. White only sign. A lot of y'all ain't never seen those. Okay? But they had them all over the South. They had some in the North. They had some everywhere. Okay? Y'all ain't never seen those. A lot of people. And then they get to saying, well, I don't think, I don't know. No, you don't know what it's like before the Civil Rights Movement. This is what we had. Let me show you. Shit. Hold on. Right here. Uh-oh. Can y'all see that? I don't know whether you can see it or not. Okay, let me take this off. Hold on. This right here. We had these kind of signs. Y'all see that? I remember even as a kid, I remember seeing these signs. I remember seeing these signs as a kid. As a kid, I remember this. That's one. Let me show you another one. They had these all over the United States. All over the United States. There they go. Just like this. You see that? You see what it says? By order of the police department. All over the United States. Right before I was born. 1964. Okay? They all over the United States. Y'all don't know what if you ain't as old as me, they got rid of them when I right before I was born. So you all, if you born after 1968, you didn't see none. You ain't seen none of this. You don't know what it's like. This is what we had, and the bathrooms and the restaurants and all that shit was shitty. They would be torn down. They wouldn't have no seats. Couldn't use the toilet. Toilet was overflowing. It was just fucked up. Okay. So when I hear young people talk about, oh, you don't need no DEI, you don't need the Civil Rights Act, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. There were whites only signs. School buses, neighborhoods, even hospitals had those signs. Even hospitals had those signs. You couldn't go into the hospital unless it was a certain time of day. You couldn't go in certain restaurants unless it was a certain time of day. You could sit at the counter and they would not serve you. Get the fuck out of here, nigga. Get the fuck out of here, nigga. We couldn't stay in certain hotels. You couldn't go to certain towns because they would kill you. They would drag you, hang you. In some towns, black people, they spoke up about the unfair treatment, but they could lose their job, their life. Worse. So when we hear of people getting hung, black people getting hung even today, dude, what was that in Louisiana? Where the hell did he get hung? A couple weeks ago. It was about 2 or 3 months ago. A black guy got hung. Then I know that shit still happens. That's the kind of shit on a daily basis black people were having, we're dealing with that. Okay. The Ku Klux Klan and other white supremacist groups terrorized black families. It wasn't just about the laws. It was a culture of fear, silence, and second-class citizenship. Okay? Even well-educated black people couldn't get jobs. They got excluded from unions, lowest paying positions, denied mortgages, denied loans, all because of their race. The system of segregation was not going to correct itself. That is why the Civil Rights Act was enacted in 1964. So we wouldn't have these things happen. There was many things that happened. If you weren't born in 1960, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. When you sit there and say DEI, affirmative action, 1964, that doesn't change. That's my whole point, Simon Johnson. If we rolled back those laws, if we rolled back 1964, there would be hell on earth. Okay. So by 1950s and 1960s, black Americans had waited nearly 100 years after slavery, and there still was not equality. That's why the Civil Rights Act, the Civil Rights Movement became necessary. Ordinary people had to force the government to change. That's why I said to you all, those people who marched that No King protest on Saturday, that's where it starts. You have to start somewhere. You have to get involved if something is the way you don't want it to be. Yes, They treated everyone who wasn't white like that. Everyone who wasn't white like that. And some of them got treated worse. Okay? So we didn't have the freedom or democracy that we wanted to, right? There was many events that happened along the way. Emmett Till, if you've heard of Emmett Till, 1955, 14-year-old boy from Chicago was beaten and killed for allegedly whistling at a white woman. Okay? Nanya, this is not about you giving me a goddamn critique. Shut the fuck up if you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? You want to talk to me? Y'all put the shit in the super chat. Because a lot of y'all say a whole bunch of shit. I'm not even mentioning you if you don't put it in the super chat. If you want it read, put it in the super chat. So, the Montgomery bus boycott, 1955, 1956. That was when Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat to a white man. This long year boycott led to Martin Luther King getting involved and protesting for real change. Yes. The Birmingham campaign, peaceful demonstrators, including school children, were attacked with police dogs and fire hose. I would turn that on, but I'd get banned from YouTube if I showed you the video of people getting attacked by police dogs and fire hoses because they were protesting. That's why it's very important to be peaceful when you all go and protest. Then, the March on Washington, 1963. Over 250 people gathered at the Lincoln Memorial where Martin Luther King delivered "I Have a Dream" speech. It chills me to the bone, even now, even after he made the speech right before I was born, years before I was born, but still, it chills me to the bone. If you don't understand what people went through, I can't explain it to you. I'm trying to explain some of it to you now. So the final push for this 1964 Civil Rights Act came when President Johnson had been being pushed, protests, fighting. Then he was assassinated. John F. Kennedy was pushing for it, but he was assassinated. Then Lyndon B. Johnson took it up and said, we're going to overcome this and we're going to make this civil rights movement work. So in 1964, America's racial system was built to keep black people in their place. The Civil Rights Act wasn't just about jobs or schools. It was about dignity, equality, and the right to exist as a human being. It became necessary because the cruelty and hypocrisy of segregation could no longer be hidden like they were trying to hide it. They freed the slaves, but they really didn't free the slaves. They were lying about freeing the slaves. And the bravery of ordinary people forced this nation to change, just like protesting forces the nation to change. Okay? Now, what the hell happened? So I asked this question. Civil Rights Act got put into place, but that shit still, some of this shit still looks like people getting lynched, people not being able to do X, Y, and Z. Okay? Which sometimes is acted in a real way. People have implicit biases. Most people have implicit bias. So, how do we account for how the Civil Rights Act acts or is enacted today? Just because the Civil Rights Act was put into place in 1964 didn't mean people's hearts and minds and habits and hidden biases, implicit biases did not change. Laws cannot stop people from openly discriminating in public places, at jobs and schools and all that other stuff. But they can't, and they can stop them from discriminating in public, schools, jobs, etc. But they can't stop a person from being racist. We can't stop a people from treating people differently because of their race, their sex, their gender, X, Y, and Z. Right? So everybody has the implicit bias. The whole point is for you to know that you have an implicit bias as a white person and as a black person. You need to figure out what your implicit bias is when it comes to other races. Okay? The problem is many white people today think that because they don't hate anybody or call people the hard N-E-R or say racial slurs, that they don't have biases. But bias doesn't always look like open hate. It can look like who you trust, who you believe, who you hire, who you fear. It's in the small everyday decisions that shape opportunities. This is where systematic racism rears its ugly head. When we say there's systematic racism, it's in people's implicit bias that we find this racism. For example, studies show that people with white-sounding names get more callbacks for jobs than black-sounding names, even when their resumes are the same. That's not a law that is working against you. That is a person's bias, a person's implicit bias. These unconscious biases can also show up in class, hospitals, courtrooms. The real challenge is not just to obey the law, but to look inside yourself. People, especially us Americans, have to be honest about this and admit that we have biases, including yourself, including the idiot who was in here talking about X, Y, and Z. Zombie. Okay? It doesn't make somebody evil or mean or unworthy, but it does make them responsible for what they do once they know better. Shut up, Chris P. We're not talking about the Democratic Party. Grow the fuck up. Man, some of y'all zombies need to grow the fuck up. We're not talking about the Democratic Party. It doesn't make you evil because you have biases. It just means you need to recognize those and do better. Okay? True equality isn't just about the laws on paper. It's about people choosing to unlearn what they've been taught, to see others fully human being, and to treat fairness as something that starts in the mind, not just in the courthouse or the laws. So we get to Charlie's part, right? We finna get to Charlie's part. Why did Charlie he say that it went too far when it came to the LGBT community? Okay. Why did he say that? Okay. And this is the conservative activist, founder of Turning Point USA. He's taking a number of positions according to LGBT, as well as how the Civil Rights Act 1964 was being interpreted. Okay. Here's a breakdown of what I thought, my thoughts on Charlie and why he felt the way he did. So his objective, Charlie's objective, he had an opposition to the LGBT agenda and gender identity rights. He said that was why he was against. He said that was why he was against Civil Rights Act. He had an opposition against the LGBT rights because they went too far. He expressed strong opposition to what he calls the LGBT agenda. So here's Charlie in his own words. We're going to hear Charlie in his own words. Everybody keeps saying we be interpreting the wrong word. We be saying Charlie, we be taking Charlie out of context and all that good stuff. Here we go. We gonna take Charlie at his word. We don't want nobody We don't want nobody to say we took Charlie out of context and blah blah blah. We ain't finna do none of that.
They think this guy is a racist.
You said the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so the parts of the Civil Rights Act were great, but the way it's now being implemented to force men in female bathrooms to push forward of the trans agenda, the intent of the Civil Rights Act is way beyond what it was originally authored for.
But the intent specifically originally was to...
Well, that's interesting. So the intent and the law are two different things. So the intent was noble, which was to say that no American can be not allowed into a place of business based on the color of their skin or their ethnic heritage. Totally agreement with that. That's not what the law only did. It created a massive anti-racist DEI army that then gave us affirmative action. For example, recently Merrick Garland sued using the Civil Rights Act, saying that we cannot have voter ID in certain states because it's a violation of the Civil Rights Act. So basically what the Civil Rights Act did is that it went beyond disparate impact and then went to disparate effect. In the sense where if black Americans are not doing as well as white Americans in a certain category, you can now use the Civil Rights Act and say that's a violation of the Civil Rights Act, even though there might be other contributing factors.
They think this guy is a racist.
You said the Civil Rights Act was a mistake.
Wait a minute.
A patriot, someone who loves, is the great Satan. And you know who's
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all.
this? A patriot, someone who loves. America is the great Satan. And you know who's telling you this? A patriot, someone who loves not this country, but what this country can be. I love the idea. I love what this country could become. And I love a lot of what this country once was. It's the other thing. That's why Make America Great Again means so much to me. I love what this country once was. Before the civil rights movement, America is the great Satan. And you know who's telling you?
Though, let's be clear, created a beast, and that beast has now turned into an anti-white weapon. This topic would have been even more forbidden 4 or 5 years ago, but it's now becoming in more and more mainstream circles. Is that because the problem is becoming worse, or but our side is more courageous to confront it? Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do that at least once a week, right? Once a week we talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. The present reality, not the ideal, the reality of the Civil Rights Act and how it's being used is making it harder for us to pursue excellence as a society. Here's a fact. Since the Civil Rights Act passed, I think that it's fair to say any sort of racist sentiments that are in America have gone, at least individually amongst white people, towards black people have gone away. What I'm trying to counter is the reason we talk about race so much is because we have a federal holiday to a guy that talked about race all the time. And the Civil Rights Act, though, let's be clear, created a beast, and that beast has now turned into an anti-white weapon. This topic, now again, apparently they don't. Civil Rights Act. Any sort of white people.
Okay. I moved this somehow. I tried to get every end of that conversation that he was talking about. I tried to get every end of that conversation that he was talking about. Because people tell you that you interpreted him wrong. What he said was wrong. What he really meant was X, Y, and Z. Okay? This is what people say. He meant X, Y, and Z.
The Civil Rights Act of 1964 as a huge mistake.
Correct.
Why do you believe it was a mistake to pass anti-discrimination legislation? And what do you think would be better policy for being treated fairly and equally, which you see as an American principle?
Yeah, nothing against the intent, but it was too broadly written and it played into something called disparate impact. Disparate impact was woven within the Civil Rights Act, and disparate impact basically says if two racial groups have different outcomes, the answer must be racism. It does not allow any legal nuance. So there are 4 components to, quote unquote, the anti-racist regime of America. I don't pretend to know what goes on in this country. I could just talk about America. I'm sure that's fine. And it's 4 components: affirmative action, critical race theory, DEI, and disparate impact. Those are the kind of the 4 components. All of them have their subsection. The Civil Rights Act led the way to affirmative action, which is weaponized, quote unquote, reverse racism against Asian and white people. And the Civil Rights Act also blazed the trail for disparate impact as a legal theory. basically saying that if black Americans are doing worse in a group, it might not be because of marital differences or cultural differences or single motherhood issues, it must be racism. And so because of that, the Civil Rights Act was too broadly written. So the intent, it should have been a single page or a two-page bill to say that you cannot discriminate against based on the color of somebody's skin, period, end of story. Instead, we get a multiple 100-page bill with lots of chapters and lots of lesser-known amendments that created basically a permanent anti-racist bureaucracy within our federal government to go find racism where it doesn't exist and create it in new places where otherwise did not exist.
On more than one occasion, Charlie Kirk said that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was a huge mistake. But did you know that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was the third Civil Rights Act to be passed within a 7-year span? That's right, it was preceded by the acts in 1957 and 1960. The 1957 Act led to the establishment of a Civil Rights Commission within the Justice Department that would investigate voting rights violations and prosecute those who tried to prevent black Americans from voting. However, it did nothing to address the racially discriminatory usage of literacy tests and poll taxes to prevent black citizens from voting. Moreover, it did nothing to ensure that schools desegregated as provided by the 1954 Brown v. Board of Education Supreme Court decision. The 1960 Act extended the life of the Civil Rights Commission, originally set for 2 years, and was meant to strengthen the previous act by adding provisions for both prosecution and penalties for those who violated the constitutional rights of others and continued resistance against the Supreme Court orders to desegregate schools. It was also aimed at closing the loopholes left by the previous act. And lastly, it strengthened the FBI's ability to investigate school and church bombings. Because, side note, from 1947 to 1965, there were more than 50 bombings in Birmingham, Alabama alone, earning it the moniker of Bombingham. So why the 1964 Civil Rights Act? Because not only were the rights of black Americans still being formally violated, but because of the political violence against black Americans for trying to advocate for their constitutional and civil rights.
You all hit the like button. I need 10, 15 likes, please, and thank you. You're listening to the content. I appreciate the likes and the sub to the channel, please, and thank you. We have this kind of discussion every night, some kind of facts that we present. Please hit the like button. Thank you very much.
It had reached a crescendo, most notably Medgar Evers being shot and killed in his driveway on June 12, 1963, which, side note, it took 3 trials and 3 decades for his killer to be found guilty and imprisoned. And the bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church, which killed Addie Mae Collins, 14 years old, Denise McNair, 11 years old, Carol Robertson, 14 years old, and Cynthia Wesley, 14 years old, on September 15, 1963. The 1964 Civil Rights Act was a prohibition against discrimination in public places, provided for the integration of schools and other public facilities, stores, restaurants, hotels, etc., and made employment discrimination illegal. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was a landmark piece of legislation primarily because black people were being subjected to regular political violence for simply asking that they be treated equally under the law. Violence that dated all the way back to the end of Reconstruction in 1877, ushering in the lynching era, 1880 to 1960, when over 4,000 black Americans were lynched, hung from trees, burned alive, bodies mutilated with impunity, simply for fill in the blank while black. Its passage was followed by the Voting Rights Act of 1965, the Fair Housing Act of 1968, and the Equal Employment Opportunity Act of 1972, which one could argue even the Civil Rights Act of 1964 wasn't enough for people to continue to try to resist recognizing the constitutional and civil rights of black Americans. And that is the act that Charlie Kirk on more than one occasion deemed a mistake. And why did he believe it was a mistake? Because he believes it paved the way for reverse racism in the form of DEI and affirmative action policies. He would have you believe that it has led to white people being passed over for jobs, colleges, etc. in order to meet DEI quota thresholds. He would have you believe that it has led to less qualified black persons and other less qualified marginalized minorities taking the positions of white people. A conclusion, and here's where the racism is based on a presumption that black people are inherently not as intelligent and therefore not as qualified as a white person. For example, he used a poorly veiled concern over flight safety to express concern over a black pilot that rests on the presumption that they are not as qualified and that they were hired, not because of their qualifications, but because of DEI and affirmative action. A presumption, without explicitly saying it, he wouldn't have had if the pilot were racialized white. He made all these points while also asserting that Martin Luther King Jr. was an awful person. Never mind the fact that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 only removed barriers from housing, employment, access to public spaces, education, and voting. He would have you believe that Black Americans were better off before its passage. In doing so, he echoed the very same talking points of resistance against the removal of the barriers the Act provided in the years that followed, which were echoes of the resistance to the Emancipation Proclamation in the years that followed it. It was nothing new. Resistance that took shape in the war on crime of the 70s and the war on drugs in the 80s, both of which amounted to a war on Black communities, but brought the results in the form of data and statistics, but more importantly, images on the nightly news of crime they could point to be able to continue to stoke fear and suspicion of the presupposed innate criminality and pathology of Black people, a classic racist idea. Hopefully you see his assertion regarding the Civil Rights Act as not only wrong, but dangerous to the dignity of Black Americans. And also, perhaps you now understand why he had these prove me wrong events with 18 to 22-year-old college students and not actual historians and social.
Following the murder of political activist Charlie Kirk on September the 10th, the Fox News contributor called him, quote, a martyr, bold and unashamed, anchored in faith, unquote. It's been an overwhelming week to be human, hasn't it? A couple of thoughts. First, what happened to Kirk was inhumane, egregious, and wrong. Violence doesn't solve problems, it only multiplies them. The acts of this shooter must be condemned. Second, one can and must recognize the humanity or image of God in another and confront the oppressive actions of their behavior. What do I mean? For me, Charlie Kirk was made in the image of God, and his words and actions harmed many and are worthy to be condemned. The same man who said, quote, Jesus defeated death so you can live, also said, quote, Dr. King was an awful human being, quote, civil rights was a huge mistake, unquote. And the same man who wanted to be remembered for his faith also said, quote, Black women don't have the brain processing power to be taken seriously, unquote. Those words are not compatible with the way of Jesus. These words and many of his actions are also inhumane, egregious, and wrong, and must be condemned. May this be a sobering warning for all of us that we must address our own inner shadows before and while exposing the shadows of empire. Which leads me to a final thought. History is filled with movements that used Christ's name but ignored Christ's ways. Crusaders, slaveholders, segregationists, KKK, and today before our very eyes, Christian nationalism. I cannot stand by as a Christian, as a pastor, and as a human and watch Christ's name get hijacked to further justify hate, racism, bigotry, misogyny, and white supremacy. The Jesus path is one of humility, generosity, nonviolence, care for the poor, the immigrant, the sick, and the prisoner. And so may this moment in history, may it be a moment to caution all of us when we hear God's name being brought into a conversation, including pastors and especially politicians. And if you find yourself confused or unsure which path is the path of love, look for the most vulnerable. That is where you will find the Christ.
Yes.
Which is exactly what I keep telling these people who call themselves Christian. You're not a Christian if you don't do that.
Yesterday, that is on April 23rd, 2025, Trump released 2 executive orders. Both of them involve African American people. The first one has to do with HBCUs. I'm not going to address that in this video. That's the upcoming video. What I want to address in this video is something really that I addressed almost a year ago, having to do with Project 2025. And this is about the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Specifically, it has to do with something called disparate impact. It is extremely important, disparate impact, when filing and litigating civil rights cases. So this is going to have a big impact on civil rights cases now that Trump is doing his best to get rid of disparate impact. All right, now, before I go any further, I want you to hear what I said in that video last year, July 2nd to be exact. All right, let's listen to that. Kevin Roberts is the leader of the Heritage Foundation, which gave birth to Project 2025. And what you see on the screen now is the manual, that 932-page manual that they've written that covers a whole host of things. I have been scouring that document, and there's one thing that I want to share with you today about what they intend to do, which will definitely unleash a lot more anti-Black racism. All right, let me explain what I'm saying. So, disparate impact. Disparate impact is probably a word you've never heard in your life, or a term that you've never heard in your life. In that manual that I just told you about, let me quote these words. Courts have ruled that even without evidence of overt, intentional discrimination, such results might suggest discrimination. This doctrine of disparate impact could be ended legislatively or at least narrowed through the regulatory process by a future administration. So, Dr. Roberts here is saying that they want to see the disparate impact doctrine done away with, like they did DEI, like they did affirmative action. Because disparate impact, we litigators, practitioners, civil rights litigators, we use disparate impact to prove our civil rights cases all the time.
So, disparate impact. Let me just explain disparate impact. Okay. Disparate impact. Basically, it means that sometimes a rule or policy can seem fair on the surface, but it still ends up hurting other groups of people more than the other, or the people that it named in the original act, right? So think of it like this: if you rule, if you rule, how do I explain it? If the rules or systems end up shutting out or disadvantaging a certain race, gender, sex, or group, even by accident, that's a disparate impact. Okay? So let me do a simple example, okay? Let's say a company makes a rule that everybody who applies for the job has to be at least 6 foot tall. Okay? On paper, that sounds fair. Anybody can apply, right? But in real life, that rule automatically cuts out most women, a lot of men, and certain ethnic backgrounds like Asian people, right? So even though the company never said no women, no Asian people, no certain type people, that rule still has a negative effect on them. Let me say it again. Let's say a company makes a rule that says everybody who applies for the job has to be 6 foot. On paper, it sounds fair. It don't sound like it's doing nothing, right? Don't sound like it's messing with nobody, right? But in real life, the rule automatically cuts out women, because most women ain't 6 foot. It cuts out the Asian people, because the Asian people ain't that tall, and certain men who may not be that tall either. So even though the company never said that women can't apply for the job, the company never said Asian people can't apply for the job, the rule still has a negative effect on those people. That's what disparate impact means. The impact of the rule is unfair, even if it wasn't meant to be. Okay? So why does it matter? Laws that deal with disparate impact are there to catch hidden or unintentional discrimination. It's easy to see discrimination when someone says, we don't hire black people. That's easy. That's straight up, straight to your face. The law says if your policy keeps creating unfair results, you need to fix the rule, not just say we didn't mean it that way. You have to fix it. Stop at Osmo's good. I unblocked you. You're going to be blocked again. I haven't said anything to you, but I've listened to you. I've seen your writing. You need to calm down. Okay? Or there's 5 billion other channels that you can be somewhere. You can be anywhere else but here. But if you're going to be here, you're not going to talk crazy to me. So, the law says if your policy keeps creating unfair results, you need to fix the rule. Not just say we didn't mean it. Okay? Disparate means unequal. Impact means the result or effect. Put together, disparate impact means unequal effect. It's like saying you didn't mean to break the window, but you still did break the window. So you still have to fix it. It doesn't erase the harm. Okay? So why was this applied, Charlie? Why did Charlie apply this? Okay? Charlie argued that disparate impact becomes a way for institutions, employers, or government to rule someone guilty of discrimination, not because they intended to discriminate, but simply because the outcome of their policy or rules disadvantaged a protected group. He believes this shifted the focus from the Civil Rights Act, from what someone meant to do to what really happened. Hey, Ty. And that this shift is unfair to those who didn't intend harm. For example, he stated that the law now treats a rule that produces unequal results as automatically suspect. He also connects this with a concern about how white men might feel unfairly treated because unequal results are treated as proof of discrimination under disparate impact idea. In his own words, right? He calls a concept tool for permanent DEI type bureaucracy, meaning he believes it keeps building regulatory and institutional power over how people hire, promote, and admit people into schools. So he felt like this was a problem. He didn't like it. He doesn't agree with the idea. So therefore, he said the Civil Rights Act should not have been put into place. Okay. He thinks it's wrong. He thought it was wrong to call it discrimination when no one meant to discriminate. Law should only punish people or companies if they intend to treat someone unfairly because of their race, gender, sex, or background. He says it's unfair to blame people for unequal results if they were following the same rules as before. So basically, he doesn't like the disparate impact, focuses on the results. He also thought it was unfair to white men. White male victim problem, the white male victim problem. He believes that when the government looks at results, like noticing that most CEOs are white men, people automatically assume white men are the problem. He says this makes white men feel like they're being blamed just for being successful or in positions of power. To him, disparate impact, those laws can be used to punish or shame white men, even when they didn't do anything racist or sexist on purpose. Okay. Yes, he did say that. He did say, and it was related to the LGBT. I get all of that. Okay. I get all of that. It really, how the hell can you explain this? Let me see. How do I explain this? He thought the Civil Rights Act was stretched beyond what it was meant to stretch beyond. Okay? He believed the Civil Rights Act was only supposed to protect people from unfair treatment based on the race, religion, the sex, and national origin. But over time, courts decided that the word sex included sexual orientation. That was the problem that he had with it. Being gay or bisexual, gender identity, being transgender, X, Y, and Z. So Kirk says that's not what Congress meant back in 1964. And that judges rewriting the meaning of sex is changing the law without a proper vote. In short, he thinks it was unfair for courts to reinterpret laws instead of lawmakers updating those laws. But see, he also thought that the law was being used to silence or punish people with religious views, traditional beliefs. He often said that the LGBT community, their rights are added under the Civil Rights Act. It can lead to conflicts with free speech and religion. For example, he argued that Christians businesses owners who don't want to participate in same-sex marriages might have to force them to do so or punish them for not doing so. So he was concerned about protecting one's groups or rights, but allowing other people's freedoms, especially going against traditional and religious views. I get that. He framed it as a freedom issue, not just a gay rights issue. I get all that. And then it was something about the woke enforcement. What? Kirk says the Civil Rights Act was turned into government's weapon that punished DEI or woke agendas in schools, government, business. So he thought that LGBT people had too many powers. Okay. He said it's no longer about equality. It's about ideology. And his bigger point was, instead of it, the law started out to promote equal rights. Now it's being pushed a certain agenda. One that he says elevates identity politics. See, I had to read about his thought. I had to read about it too, because I really couldn't find what he was saying. He argues that it's not just about stopping discrimination anymore. It's about forcing agreement with ideas like gender fluidity, like the LGBT community, forcing the LGBTQ community down people's throats. Okay. And we couldn't disagree, or they couldn't disagree without being punished or called bigots. I get all that. Okay. But see, here's the thing. What I can't get past with Charlie. Charlie said the Civil Rights Act never should have been passed at all. It shouldn't have been passed at all. Okay. So he said it should not have been passed. He wasn't only arguing about how it's being interpreted over time. He was saying the entire foundation of the law gave the federal government too much power over private life and business. So once the government told people how to conduct their business, the schools, employers, and told them that they couldn't discriminate, that opened the door for the government to start controlling everything, like speech, hiring, and social policy. This really had to do with LGBT inclusion. Okay. LGBT inclusion. He's questioning whether any federal interference and discrimination was justified in the first place. But that's not where the problem lies, because it sounds like he's defending segregation more than equality. He frames it as a debate over government overreach, but in reality, the overreach was what forced racist people and businesses and schools to stop discriminating. And so I said to myself, why didn't he just argue? Why didn't Charlie just argue with changing certain parts of the Civil Rights Act instead of coming out and saying, you just should get rid of the whole civil rights? You notice that a lot of people who come out and talk about it keep saying, we never should have passed the Civil Rights Act. We never should have passed the DEI. We never should have did that. And here's what I'm saying. And then most of it is based on the LGBT stuff. See, a lot of them frame it as giving rights to the LGBT community, and it really didn't mean to include them. It only meant to include black people. That's what a lot of people start to argue. So if his issue was just about sex, the sexual orientation or whatever, and how it was redefined to include the LGBT community, he could have said, let's make a new law just for the LGBT community protections, instead of stretching the Civil Rights Act, instead of saying we never should have did the Civil Rights Act. But he said, that's wild, Black America. That's wild. And I don't know whether you thinking about what you're saying or not. I don't know whether you're thinking about what you're saying or not. Because that's wild what you just said. But he didn't stop there. He questioned the whole existence of the Civil Rights Act. That suggests his core issue isn't about the interpretation. And I don't believe it was about the interpretation neither. Okay? It's about the idea that the federal government has the authority to regulate equality at all. It's a very old argument. I get it. It was one used in the 1960s by segregationists who claimed that the Civil Rights Act, states' rights, violated the states' rights and freedom of association. So when Kirk comes up with the same goddamn reasoning today, even if he says it's about liberty or small government or any kind of bullshit like that, it seems like he's justifying Black Americans not being able to get into schools, jobs, and restaurants. Okay. He often presented himself as a defender of traditional values and moral order. Yet rejecting the Civil Rights Act ignores the deep immorality of what life was like before the Civil Rights Act came about. You can't claim to defend freedom while also rejecting the law that made millions of Americans free in practice. So when he says the law went too far, many people hear that as saying black people's equality, women's equality, now the LGBT equality were all governmental mistakes and not progress. That's what it sounds like when he says the Civil Rights Act never should have been passed. And that's exactly what it sounds like what you said, Black America, that's wild to me, and you're black. That's why people don't buy the bullshit Charlie Kirk's pure motives argument. He literally said we were better off before the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Okay? I don't buy the pure method. I don't buy the Christian attitude that he puts forward. He puts something forward that says, I'm trying to be good to human beings, and yet, on the other hand, the hand that he's hiding, he's hitting you with a rock, which is wild. His reasoning lines up with those historically opposed to civil rights, not those trying to expand those civil rights. At its core, Charlie Kirk isn't just his stand is not about just the law. It's about power and identity. He believes too much focus was on the rights of marginalized communities, which took power away from the white Christian conservatives. That's wild. That's wild. So when he argues about against the civil rights and the LGBT inclusion, he's really saying government shouldn't interfere to protect minority groups from discrimination. People should figure it out on their own. That's what he's saying. That's what a lot of y'all saying, and you don't even know what the fuck you saying. But history shows that without that interference, there never would have been protection at all. So the law that changed everything. The law that changed everything. It wasn't just another law. 1964 Civil Rights Act just wasn't a law. It was a line in the sand between the ugly past and a more equitable future for minorities in this country. Before this Civil Rights Act, segregation was normal. They thought it was normal. Black people could be denied jobs, education, a seat at the restaurant, all because of their skin color. And for Charlie Kirk to come out and say they never should have passed that Civil Rights Act in the first place tells me there's other things going on with this man. On top of the fact that he attacks other black related things. Okay. The act said no more. It forced the country to live up to its own words about liberty and equality. So when Charlie Kirk says that the law should not have been passed, he's not just arguing about governmental power. He's questioning the very tool that made this country more just and more humane. So people say, no, he didn't mean that. He didn't mean that. He wasn't talking like that. He wasn't saying that. He wasn't saying that. Charlie Kirk's problem is with the government overreach too. The Washington shouldn't have the right to tell a private employer how to do their business. They're human beings too, Black America. I already told you. They're human beings too. But here's the truth. Without that 1964 Civil Rights Act, no diner, no hotel, no school would ever have been forced to desegregate. They could still tell you to get the fuck out, nigger. What he calls freedom, history calls injustice. His freedom is Charlie Kirk's word for freedom is injustice to us. Because the freedom to discriminate isn't free at all. It's a weapon used to keep others beneath you. You can't build equity by asking the same people who benefited from inequality to fix it voluntarily. They're not going to fix it voluntarily. If I'm already on your back and I got more advantage than you, what is the incentive for me to help you come up to my level? No, we weren't the party of KKK. Christopher, please do your research. Please do research. So if Kirk were only upset about the sex in the Civil Rights Act, and it was interpreted to include the LGBT community, he could have simply argued for new standalone law about that. I'm dropping the link. Y'all figure out how to come up. People figure out how to come up. Pace. Figure out how to come up on the chat. Come up and tell me about this pack. Tell me something I didn't get. Okay. If Charlie was so concerned about the expanded interpretation of LGBTQ rights, why didn't he simply argue for a new standalone bill? Why didn't he do that every time he talked? Why didn't he argue for a standalone bill, civil rights bill? But instead, he dismissed the entire civil rights bill. That tells me this isn't just about one issue. It's about rejecting the idea that the government should help protect minorities from the majority. That's the same logic segregationists used in the 1960s. No, Rudy, I think you Republicans got us beat on that, especially with these phone calls. The government shouldn't tell us who we have to serve. That's what Charlie Kirk thought. It's old thinking dressed up in new language. And if you would have seen the damn thumbnail, the original thumbnail, what I had on there was Christian nationalism is racism dressed up in Bible drag. Okay? The moral blind spot that he had. Kirk himself, a defender of freedom and morality, but true morality recognizes suffering and corrects it. It doesn't defend the systems that caused it. That's what he was trying to do. The Civil Rights Act wasn't an attack on freedom. It was a rescue mission for people who never had it. To argue it shouldn't have existed is to argue that the Civil Rights Act should not have existed is to say we'd be fine if the federal government had stayed out of it. But history shows we weren't fine before the Civil Rights Act, before they forced people to have equality. And we really didn't have equality back then. We just had a semblance of it. But you couldn't tell me no, because people could get sued. Black children couldn't attend white schools. Women could be denied work for being mothers. Gay people could be fired for who they loved. That's not a moral order. That's moral blindness. That's what Charlie Kirk had. Why it matters now? The conversation isn't about 1960. It's about today. Every time someone like Charlie Kirk questions the need for civil rights laws, which we done heard people question it, the zombies keep coming out with that same thing. The people on the right, you hear them beating that drum beat. They give cover to the idea that equality is optional, that fairness depends on who's in charge. But equality can't depend on somebody's goodwill. We just can't. It has to be protected by law. Okay? No, they don't. With that phone call, Christopher, that phone call that we heard the Republicans talking 2-point crazy on tells us that it's running rampant on the right-hand side. Okay? The Civil Rights Act wasn't perfect, but it was progress. To tear it down like Charlie Kirk tried to do, or like this administration is trying to do, I see you, like this administration is trying to do, is to forget how dark this country was before they enacted the Civil Rights Act. And it's a risk walking back into that darkness again. Most of y'all ain't built for it. Most of y'all ain't bid for it. Shut up, Christopher. I'm gonna have to block you because I hate dumb men. I hate dumb human beings. Ty Pro, what you got, sir?
How you doing, HQ? How you doing? Good evening.
I'm giving a civil rights lesson to the goofy people out there who don't understand where we were before we got civil rights.
You cooking and you would make our ancestors from the 60s and the 50s that was out there getting hosed and dying in bombs and
Right.
actually being deleted for this right. You
Right.
would make them proud. People have revisionist history when it comes to the Civil Rights Act and why
Mm-hmm.
these things were even created. They act like it wasn't a need, and the fact that when they were created, people had to die for this thing to be created. Yes, it was co-opted by pretty much white women,
Mm-hmm.
and then the LGBT.
Right.
It was first co-opted by white women before it was ever
Mm-hmm.
LGBTQ community to even co-op it.
Yes.
But
You understand? See, and this is the thing I can't get past. Charlie tried to tear down the Civil Rights Act. He tried to tear it down. He kept saying it never should have been enacted. Do you understand the concept of it not being enacted? The impact that it had on this nation to even be put into law? And
it,
this
it
person who these people say is not racist, is advocating for that to not even exist.
he is disrespectful to everything we've been through since then and before then in this country. It's very, very disrespectful with the sitting in the back of the bus,
Right.
having water fountains that were nasty and rusted, using public bathrooms that was disgusting,
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
being able to vote, not being able to go to school, the same schools. It's
Yeah.
disrespectful to the fact that there were people fighting back and pushing back. And I don't think them people that was throwing bricks at Martin Luther King were Democrats.
Right. No.
And I
No.
I I wanted to touch on what
Right.
really made me come up is that
Right.
I wanted to touch on this I idiotic the KKK were Democrats
Please,
thing, right?
I meant to research that. I know the answer and I read it how it was correct. But do you know why why it came about? What they're talking about?
So
KKK.
this is the thing. The Democrats of that time are the Republicans of this time.
Right.
So in the 50s going into the 60s, that's when most people switch parties, but the party name has nothing to do with reflecting the group or the character of the people in that party. So no matter, I don't fuck. I'm sure, yeah, of course, it's Democrats that's racist, but it's a more inclusive mindset in the Democratic Party than it is in the Republican Party, and you got to be blind if you don't acknowledge that. But going back to the history,
Mm-hmm.
sometime in the 50s, going to the 60s, when they were marching and getting ready to protest and fighting for civil rights, because it was a process. It just heated up in the 62, 63, 64, but it was a long process. That's when Republicans and Democrats pretty much started switching, and Democratic states turned Republican, Republican states turned Democrat, and that's the form that we see today. It's been like, and they only switched because black people were trying to get rights, and it was the Democrat Party that was pushing for black rights in the 40s, 50s, early 60s. By
Mm-hmm.
the 60s, it had already switched, but the 40s and 50s is when the clash started. I got some videos that I can send you, but the
Mm-hmm.
40s and 50s is when it switched, right? But
Right.
going back to the creation of the creation of the Ku Klux Klan, do you really think that in 2025 it would be Democrats putting on white robes and burning crosses on people's grass?
Mm-hmm.
Or would you think that it was the people who are talking about in their group chats lynching black people and calling black people watermelon people? Do you what if we just played the game and said, you
Right.
know what? Okay, yeah, you got it. The KKK was Democrats back in the fucking 1890s
Mm-hmm.
because so let me slow down. So look, the Republicans of today are the ones who would have put those white masks on and burn crosses on black people's lawns and tried to lynch black people. You cannot they it just shows the level of intellect people have when they say, "Oh, the KKK was Democrats." You really know that it would be the Republican neo-Nazi German-like motherfuckers that would be the ones putting on white robes on, right?
Right.
But people forget that the Ku Klux Klan rose when during the Reconstruction era they
Mm-hmm.
went away and they came back in Indiana, and that's when they rose again in what, the 30s or the 40s, and that those were Republican Ku Klux Klan members. The motherfuckers weren't Democrat. Those
No,
were
what really, what really kicked them out of the way was this Civil Rights Act of 1964.
that's when they,
This
and that's when the
is when
biggest,
KKK people broke with the Democratic Party. It's
it
because
was
of that.
it was barely 1,000 people in the original Ku Klux Klan. When
Mm-hmm.
Indiana re-rose the Klan, that's when it was thousands, tens of thousands. That's when the Klan was the Klan. And it's crazy, but you might not notice the Ku Klux Klan was a pyramid scheme.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows how manipulatable racist, poor white people are. The Ku Klux Klan was just a giant pyramid scheme. These people had to pay membership fees that made people super rich at the top of the clan who didn't give a fuck about the people in the clan, but it was the higher ups, the grand wizards and all that shit that
Mm-hmm.
had, had ties and police chiefs and all of that. But the bottom level, they was just recruiting people, making them pay to raise money for the top people to be rich. They was buying golf courses and all type of boats and all type of shit with the money, and they
Mm-hmm.
just had these people out here looking goofy, getting arrested, doing dumb shit. So, it just shows how idiotic, low income, racist, hateful white people could be. They very
Yeah, but they don't.
manipulative.
It's just a matter of them not being able to read or research. Let me read Natural Care. I see super
For sure.
chat, and I thank you HQ and Ti. I'm sending a super chat to provide Ponce versus 4UC an opportunity to ask the question. Natural Gang hashtag. Thank you very much. $5 super chat, and he can put his question somewhere where we can get it. But here's the thing. My understanding was the reason why the Civil Rights Act 1964, it outlawed segregation and racial discrimination, and that pissed off a lot of white Southern Democrats. The white Southern Democrats were actually the modern day Republicans, white Southern Democrats. And so many of the Southern Democrats left the Democratic Party over the Civil Rights Bill, and those were the KKK. So the KKK broke with the Democrats specifically hard when that Civil Rights Act passed. So that's my understanding of when they went out the door. Okay, it's because they couldn't, because they agreed to make this. They agreed to do this civil rights bill, and they didn't like it. That the Democrats went along with it, and that's what happened. They just walked out the door. So it wasn't a matter of just. And my understanding was it wasn't a lot of KKK members in the Democratic Party. They just aligned with them for a small amount of time because the Democratic Party was developed before the KKK. KKK came along, thought they were going to align with the Democrats. The Democrats said, "No, we going along with this 1964 Civil Rights Act," and that's when the KKK jumped out of the out of the Democratic Party. And now the Southern, and they were called the Southern Democrats. Now they're called the modern day Republican Party. So it is definitely a split. Mr. Black America came up, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. What's going on? Hey, Ty Pro AHQ. What's happening?
Right.
What's up, Unc? What up, though?
I can't call it. So they were, yes, the Dixiecrats
Yeah.
separated. The Dixiecrats is what they called them. They separated from the Democrats, and they are the ones. They are the modern day Republicans. So,
Right.
Ty
Right.
Pro, I like what you said, bro. I was listening to you. All right, you finally been learning something. God damn it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
I'm not
trying,
mad
man.
about that. I'm not
Trying.
mad about that. But HQ, so my whole thing is
Mm-hmm.
I know you don't like it, but as far as us with being straight heterosexual men in America, we feel like separation of family. We feel like the LBGTQ agenda, whatever that is. We feel these things are detrimental to us as a people,
Why?
as a whole. So
I know.
things like
Give me your basic. Give me your wait a minute. Give me your basic. You said it, so I'm going by what you say. I understand people not liking gay people, trans people. I get all that. That's not an argument for me. I get all that.
I don't think you do
But why would that be detrimental to you as a
because
man if you don't
because
like
I
men?
as be, okay because I as a man, me and you are married, right? It seems like black women, and you can say if I'm wrong, Ty. It seems like black women have an affinity or an acceptance of gay people,
So,
right?
so
So I don't. So if you my woman, I don't want that anywhere around me, you, or us. You see what I mean? That interferes with my life. I
how does
don't
that
want it. I
affect
don't
your life? How
because
does
if it is
how does me having a gay friend interfere with your life?
because I don't want that type of influence or that type of person.
So I'm gonna turn
Just
gay,
like
huh? So I'm gonna turn gay because
no,
I got a gay friend.
no, I didn't say that, HQ. It's just like having an alcoholic or a crackhead uncle. I know you say you don't have these things in your family or these things around you, but we don't want these type of influences around us and our family, HQ.
Yeah, but I'm
We
asking you why. I'm not gonna
be,
turn
be,
gay if
be,
I got a gay
it,
friend.
it it doesn't matter. You could have a crackhead auntie. You're not going to turn into a crackhead, but that bitch can't come over for Thanksgiving.
So
It's
I'm
the
I'm
it's the
pretty sure
it's the
I'm
same
pretty
thing
sure. But how does that destroy your family? I'm not gay and neither are you. How does that destroy
because
our family? Just because this person exists.
HQ, is this trolling now that you're doing, or I'm just
No,
curious?
no,
I'm
I'm dead
curious.
ass.
I'm
I'm dead
serious about
ass.
this.
I'm dead ass. I'm trying to figure out where he's going with this. If I'm not
I,
gay and he's
I
not
mean
gay,
I'm
and he
saying
ain't
it
gay.
in plain English.
No, you're not.
Okay,
I don't get it.
so
Yeah, yes, he
so
is.
No, I don't.
so
I don't get
all
it.
so
Just because
so I come.
you have wait a minute, hold on. I have an aversion. I have an aversion to uh I can have an aversion. That's just like saying to me, it's just like you saying I'm gonna hang out with my buddy, and I have an aversion to your buddy. I have an aversion to your buddy, but you don't see why I have an aversion to your buddy. Your buddy is single. He hangs out. He runs around all the streets day and night, and he's your friend. I have an aversion to your friend, but you wouldn't stop seeing your friend because you know
and
your friend is
and
not going to
and
introduce.
and
You know your friend
and
is not
so
going to influence
and
you.
so hold it right there, HQ. Ty
Hmm.
Pro and Lex. If we are in a committed relationship with a woman and
Right.
she does not like us hanging out with our, just listen, HQ, and she does not like having you hang out with your single friend, cousin, or brother, what do you as a man do?
Stop hanging out with your friend.
I didn't say
Cut
you.
your friend
Yes,
off. Cut your friend off.
yes, yes. That is exactly what men do, HQ.
Oh
That's
yeah,
exactly
oh
I ain't.
yeah.
that's
I ain't.
exactly
I've
what
been on
men
the
do.
receiving end of that for
I
sure.
don't. But I mean, but that
Because
may be
our
that may be
woman,
a good example or not. I still don't understand how you think
because
I'm going to turn into a gay person because I
HQ,
have.
I
I
think you
didn't say
missing
that.
HQ. I think you
I
missing
didn't
a little
say that.
part of what the brother's saying. Like, I think where he's going with
Go
that
ahead.
too. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, Black. You want to finish up or?
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Okay.
you go ahead, because it seems like she. I mean, I know she likes giving pushback, but it just seems like when it's coming from And like I said, I got a nephew that's gay.
Like America,
I
you
got a
don't have
nephew.
no reason. You don't have no reason other than the fact that you don't like gay people to tell me if I was your wife.
And
Tell me,
I'm a
hold on.
crip.
For you
I'm
to
a
tell
crip. I
me,
don't like bloods.
okay,
I'm a drug dealer. I don't like cops.
okay,
I've been to the prison. I don't want to do crime no more. I have an aversion to it. It's not a bad thing.
yeah, but if
I'm
I'm
not,
married
but
to you
but
and I say this person is gay, this is a friend of mine, this person is gay, I work with this person, this friend
he
of mine.
can't come around here. He can't come around here.
You have that option to
Just
say
like
that.
my crackhead auntie. Just like
No,
my crackhead auntie can't come around.
that's not what you're
Just
saying.
like my drunk ass cousin can't come around. That's exactly what you say.
That's not what you're saying. What you're saying is we can't even be involved with that person. That's what you're saying. You're saying
Yes,
the person don't have the
that
right to
is
be
exactly what
around
I'm
another
saying.
person.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not saying that person should be eliminated from the face of the earth. I'm saying that you, as my woman, as my other half, and a lot of times men use our better half. You as as my beating heart. You
Wait a minute.
can't
Why,
hang around
why
that
is it that
person.
y'all don't like gay men? Why you don't like gay men?
HQ, are you serious? Is this trolling like for
Oh,
real?
no.
For real?
I'm asking. I want to
All
understand
right,
why
I'm
you
going
don't like
on
gay
mute.
men.
I'm going on mute.
Why you don't like gay men? Or no, as a matter of fact, Triple, why y'all don't like gay men?
Look, first of all, here's the thing. And we've had this conversation up here before. And we were round and round, me, you, and Tyranny about that. But I'm going to reiterate. One of the main concerns is that specifically Black women like propping up and propelling these guys to the front or near the front of the game. And you don't see that amongst, hold on, baby. And you don't see that amongst other races. And it's gay men in every race. There's no race where there's not homosexual men.
So you telling
But
me
you
that
know,
Black women
I
do it
don't see
more?
those women propping those women guys up like that.
So you see it in the Black community more?
Oh yeah, hell yeah, for sure.
I wonder why is that? But
Top
why
Pro,
is that?
am I right, brother?
But why is that?
All right,
Top
so
Pro.
But I'm saying, why is that?
HQ, let me
What?
answer you. Let me answer.
Oh, it's by design. It's by design. Go. You want to jump in, Ty? I tag you in. I come back.
Just
It's
real
by
quick,
design.
real quick, and I'm gonna sling it right your way.
Go ahead.
So Black women and gay men of all races have a symbiotic relationship, and you could see it because other races of gay men typically act like stereotypical Black women. I don't understand that, but that's the case. I have a couple clips that I was going to talk about with this Korean guy with a little mini fro acting like he from the ghetto and he's a gay Korean guy. So it is a symbiotic relationship between Black women and gay men, especially Black gay men. And most Black straight heterosexual men just aren't comfortable hanging with or having that influence in our household. Like, you come over, my girl come over with her girls, and a gay dude pop up with them. That's enough. It's just uncomfortable,
No,
and it
no,
could be.
no, 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 no,
Hold
no,
on,
No.
baby. Hold on. Just
no,
let me
no,
finish I'm about to say one last sentence, and then y'all got it.
no.
It's an uncomfortable thing, and it might be an old school mindset because the '90s, the 2000s, and I'm sure in the '80s, we just looked at that community a little differently. But I'm not against them having rights. I'm not against gay people. I'm against more of the teas and the agenda that they were pushing that even the rest of that community acknowledge that there's an agenda that the T's pushed. And
Period. Period.
that's where most of the problem come from, and
Facts.
the whole community as a whole catch flack because they considered all in one community. And you
Yeah,
even see a
they're being
separation.
co-opted.
You
Wait a
see
minute.
it
That's
Wait a minute.
being
What
you
agenda
see
is
us you
what influence? What agenda is being pushed? The
you
what?
you
it,
see the separation from the LGB and then the TQS and all of that. Like they be on social media saying like we don't really rock with them because they do push an agenda. Dave Chappelle gave a great analogy. Of
Yeah,
course, he a comedian, but
they
No,
trying to read in
got me.
school to the kids.
I'm trying to figure out why you have an objection to gay people. What did
We
what
telling you
agenda,
why not.
hold on. What agenda are you talking about? You got to make it plain because people in the chat and me don't understand what you mean by pushing an agenda.
HQ,
Now,
HQ.
hold on. They're not trying to have sex with me. They're not trying to have sex with none of the women. What is the problem with us having a gay friend? I'm confused about that.
Can I say HQ? The what Ty Pro said was exactly right. You just don't want to accept it. They
No,
have
you all ain't making
transgender.
yourself clear. You're not making
Hold on a
yourself
second.
clear.
Hold on. They have transgender men
No,
going
we
into
talking about
schools,
gay. We talking about
reading to school. We group them all together. You don't separate gangbangers from each other. We don't separate them from each other. They are all one. You don't see a gangbanger and say, oh, well, that's a good gangbanger or a bad gangbanger. No, they are all together. The whole group. They got a whole clique. They
what?
have
But you said
transgender
what?
men.
Wait a minute. Y'all said influence. What do you mean by influence?
They
Influence
have
how?
transgender men going into elementary schools and reading to our children.
So what does that have to do with me and you and me having a gay friend?
I don't
It's
want
a
it. It's if
potentially affecting the community. HQ, are you
How
serious?
does it affect? How does it affect our community? If
If they're
he's my
going in and
friend.
doing that and hitting it at the ground level in schools, why do you think that don't affect the community?
Wait a minute, y'all make
Like,
it sound
what are you
like they
talking
y'all
about?
make it sound like they have gay people going into school every day. That's not how that works.
HQ,
That's not
they're
how
trying
that
to get
are
the
works.
you
kids
trolling
used
right
to
now?
it.
Are you
They're
trolling
trying to
for
get the
real? For
kids
real?
used to it. HQ. They're trying to normalize it.
Yeah, they're softening the kids up for the kill.
So often the kids up
Yeah,
for the
what are you
kill.
talking
What
about?
kill exactly is that?
Let's see, altar boys. Catholic churches have been using altar boys for years. And what have those altar boys been coming out and saying? We have been jacking priests off and sucking their dicks for centuries because
So
young minds are impressionable. And we know hurt people. More abused men abuse other people. HQ.
Okay, I can't get y'all past this subject. Y'all have a viewpoint on that subject. I have a different viewpoint. We ain't gonna we ain't
yeah,
never
look,
You're talking to you're
we ain't
talking to
never gonna
different
men.
meet.
people. There's
We
different
ain't never gonna meet.
groups. There's different groups. The George Soros, the record companies. There's very high end elites who are pushing an agenda forward, and it is having an effect on the
On
community because of this. Okay.
so the problem is they don't want you. The problem is I hear you saying you don't want an agenda. You don't want the gay people to push an agenda or nobody to push an agenda because you're afraid our children are gonna become gay when they ain't supposed to be gay. Is this what we saying?
let me
It's
answer
more
that.
than that, though. But go
All
What do
right,
ahead.
you mean
so
it's more than that? That's
Go
the
ahead.
worst it can
No,
be.
it's more than
That's
that. And
that's the worst it can be.
I'm going to explain, but I'm gonna let Ty jump in because he's talking.
HQ. It's more so that we seen an agenda, and I attribute it more to the T's than anybody. But like I said, they get the flack for the entire commute. The entire community gets the flack for what they do, but they do have a get them while they young type of an agenda that was being pushed. I told you my daughter was in California school district, and I
Wait a minute,
seen it
get
first.
what while
Oh,
they
just
young? What do
just
you mean?
hold, just listen.
What do you
The
mean? Get while they young. What do you mean?
teaching transgender type rhetoric like Billy got two dads
Okay,
and
stop there. Stop right there. Stop right there. So nobody should teach the children that there's different types of couples in the world until they become 18.
HQ, your cape flapping in the
Until they
wind.
become 18.
I would say that is not appropriate as young as it was being pushed because it is. They say that it's
It's
not a
it's
sexual
it's
thing
an
because
attempt to
they call
normalize.
it. They say that it's just teaching multiple genders, but to me, it's creating a seed of sexuality too early in the youth, and that's an
So
argument.
you don't object to it. You just don't want it taught in schools until kids can decipher it at 18.
HQ, this is jokes. You know why I say this?
H-
Hold on,
HQ,
hold on.
Now,
Let me say
I
this.
know
Let me
you're
say
not
HQ.
this.
advocating that you
Wait.
don't. Wait a minute, hold
I know
on.
it's jokes.
I know you're not
Hold on.
advocating. I know you're not advocating that nobody says anything about LGBTQ ever
No. I'm
on the
saying
stage.
this. I'm saying this jokes. Let me say this. I'm saying this jokes because of this. You know, good and well, and rest in peace and respect to the great Philo. You know, but you know, doggone well, he wouldn't have had no interaction with those guys. And if those guys were caught at school with his kids trying to push that stuff, that man would have been on a bumper. And you know it. So come
I'm
on
not
with your
saying.
Pause.
HQ. This is
I'm not.
definitely
I am
trolling.
no,
It's definitely
no.
trolling.
I am not pushing it back against any of those things.
Well,
I'm
what would have been
pushing
his
it back.
reaction? What would have
I'm
been his
pushing
reaction?
back against the fact that you all don't seem to want to acknowledge that they exist
What
until
do you
they.
mean we
We
acknowledge they
acknowledge that they
exist?
exist.
What are
Just
we talking
said.
about?
So
We
so
acknowledge
I
they
just
exist.
gave you the scenario. Don't let them find out anything
That,
about
no,
HQLF
that's
until
not
they
Hold on,
how
18.
hold on,
you approach
hold
it,
on,
though.
hold on, hold on, hold on.
Until they're
Pause.
18.
HQ. When me and you was in school, right? And I don't know about them because they're younger. When
Wait a
you
minute,
and
let me
I
read
were
it.
in school,
Let me read this super chat. I gotta read the super chat. Natural KIC, thank you, $5 for Ponce. So who is pushing the agenda of all these broken homes in the black community? What about the impact that has on the children?
the women are. The women don't want to get married. The women don't want to get on the man's program. Just like you just told me, if you got a gay friend,
Facts.
it is what it is. You have to. I told you a long time ago when you first started this channel. In order to be a man's wife, you have, and it's a good thing. You have to be absorbed by that man. A man is never going to change. We are not going to change our views. We are cavemen. We are all. I told you, you and your husband and me and Ty Pro and Lex. We are all knuckle draggers and
Yeah,
we're
but
never going to change our stance on that. You have to
Black
be,
America,
and you have to do the shit I want you to do. I
yeah,
don't
but
do the
you make
shit
it
you want to
sound
do.
But you make it sound, but I asked you all what was the natural conclusion. You keep saying we don't want them around our family. You don't want them around people. I'm saying to you, so you're saying the objection is that they keep pushing the agenda with kids. So are you saying that your kids can't find out about it until they turn 18? Then it would be all
What
right to be a friend to a gay person.
what I'm saying is, when we were in school, they had sex ed, and we had to send a paper home and have it signed by our parents to see if we could participate in sex ed. We didn't just get to participate in it.
And that was high school, too. That was high school. Older.
And that was high school health class. That was high school. We're
So
talking about kids as young as elementary.
So they don't have that. They don't have that agenda in school now. They just bring
No,
gay people into the school and just start letting
what,
them talk to the kids.
and having them read to them story times. HQ, yes, that's what I am. That's what I'm trying to tell
So
you.
what's wait a minute? Hold on. What's wrong with story time?
Because
HQ,
it's a story time from a transgender.
HQ, I think you just
Story
trying
time from a
to.
trans man.
I think
Uh,
you
uh,
just
uh,
trying
uh,
to.
What if they don't look
Yeah,
like
it's
a trans
trolling,
man?
Ty. It's
I don't
trolling. It's
understand.
trolling.
I mean,
Yeah,
is it the look of the person? What do you mean?
HQ. I got
HQ,
an
you
eight
just
year
you
old.
just trying to
I
be
got an 8 year old,
argumentative.
Yeah, she
and
trolling.
yeah, and I said, and I told you, we went out to eat. I don't know where we was at. We went out to eat somewhere, and it was some men with purses, and my baby said, "Daddy, why them men got purses?" And I can't say I just said they're very confused people. That's all I could say. I can't get into a fight in the middle of the restaurant.
Why would you get into a fight in the middle of the restaurant?
Because I use the F word still.
All right,
Oh yeah.
let me just say this, HQ, before you cut me off. Um, I think that Black America
Look at
actually
that
made it.
smile she got. Look at it.
Yeah, she trolling. Black America,
No,
you
I'm not
actually
Yeah.
trolling.
just
I'm not trolling. I'm
you
not
just
trolling.
made a good point to why they should teach some level of understanding of the stuff that's going on in that community to children, because us as older generations, we just don't know. We from a different time period, like you just said. So it has a benefit, but the extreme that it was being pushed was just too much. Nobody saying gay people don't deserve rights. It's a middle ground that I'm sure black men would even be able to accept, especially if the Democrats didn't lean so heavy into making it seem like the Democrats are the LGBTQ party. Like if some of the issues weren't forced on us without any type of say so,
Mhm.
forcing us to have to say, you know what, we gonna either have to lead a party or y'all gonna have to change what y'all doing. It's a lot of stuff to that. Like I would not want
Mhm.
those type of things getting taught to my child until she's in high school. She just a freshman now, and in California they was teaching that stuff in 5th grade, 4th grade.
But there's
So
nothing wrong with what you're saying.
hold
Nothing
on.
wrong with that.
Okay, I do want to say that to Black America, to Natural KRC point about tearing down the black households. I wouldn't even put that all on black women, because we already know our community gets psyoped by outside forces. So that's a long rabbit hole. But I
Right.
wanted to finish
Bullshit.
that. I wanted to finish that
Don't put
civil
your cape
rights.
on now, nigga.
It's no cape, bro. My cape is for black people, not just black women or black men, but not just black men and not black women. You know what I'm saying? Like I want us all to take accountability. I don't want to never
I missed that.
project it.
What happened?
I never want to
Man, he got
project.
his cape on, flying
I don't
around like
got no.
Superman
I don't got
for
no
these
cape
women that don't
on.
want to get
Yeah, but see,
on the program.
We
listen to this. Listen to this, Black America. You said that you don't want to be around them. You don't want to have nothing to do with them. You don't want your woman to have nothing to do with them. And I asked you why. Why couldn't I be friends if I was your wife? Why couldn't I have friends that are gay? What's wrong with me
Okay,
having
so
friends that are gay?
I'm gonna put it to you like this. I love ice cream. I don't like custard. I don't want custard. You know what my girls understand? My girls understand that I don't want custard, so they know to never bring me custard. I don't like it. It's just as simple as that. I don't like it. I cannot like something. You don't like my drunk
No,
cousin
there's
that
nothing
takes
wrong
me
with
to
not
titty
liking
bars.
it.
I don't like men that like other men.
But there's nothing wrong with not liking it. But you can't outwardly be saying or discriminating against that person because they are what they are.
And I don't just don't bring this. Like I say, I have a nephew who's like that. Do not bring that shit around me. Don't bring that shit around the family. If it is to happen, there are going to be consequences and repercussions, and you may not like them.
Okay, I got you. I got you. It's just like how black people, white people talked about black people. It's the same.
No, HQ. Do not
It's
do
the
What?
same.
that.
It's the
why you
No,
same
why
thing.
why you
no,
always doing
no,
this,
no,
HQ?
no, no, no,
What?
no. Hey,
It's the
don't
same
take the
thing.
bait. Don't take the bait, man. Don't take the bait. Don't take the
That's
bait.
what it sounds like to me.
Don't
It
take the bait, guys.
sounds like the
It,
same
it,
thing.
it sounds like racism.
Yep.
HQ
Hey,
pre
HQ, is this
Again,
camera
No,
on me? Is this camera on
it's
me?
called prejudice, and it's
it's
okay
called
to have
prejudice.
some
There you go.
prejudice.
It's called
And
prejudice.
it's
There you go.
HQ. We can all agree that people that mess with kids are bad. It just came out that this
That is
little
not.
girl.
That is not the bulk of people who mess with kids. The bulk of people who mess with kids are white men, straight white
No,
men, not
listen
straight
to what I'm saying.
trans men. So for you to bring that up,
listen
you
to
trying
what
to
I'm saying.
justify something.
Listen to what I'm saying. It just came out and it blew up all this week about a stud chick in a school with kids looking at the little girls and saying, "Ooh, I'm gonna get in trouble around here." I know my brothers have seen this, right? Maybe you haven't seen this,
This is
but
anecdotal. We talking about
it's not.
percentage.
It's
We're talking about percentages. The percentage of gay people doing that to people is way lower than the white population
oh,
that is
I, I,
preying on
I
young
got a
people.
way to kill. I got a way to kill this whole conversation. You just said something about the little black dude getting hung, and he wasn't even black. He was some kind of African or Guatemalan or something. Whatever he was, right?
What?
That hanging, that one hanging HQ, that was too much. It doesn't matter how many as far as number. That one hanging, that one taking of the life by hanging, if it was a racial thing, that one hanging was too much, HQ.
Wait a minute. You think I'm pushing back against the fact that you don't want them children being taught those kind of things in school? I'm
That's
not pushing back
I,
against
I,
that.
I moved I
That's not
moved past
my
that.
pushback. My
I
pushback
moved past that.
is my pushback is these are human beings too, and they have the
We
same
don't
rights as everybody else.
pit,
So
pit
they are
bulls
they are
pit
afforded
bulls are
rights.
dogs.
Wait a minute,
Pit
but they are
bulls are
afforded
dogs, but
yeah.
but you can't have them in every community. A pit bull. They're a dog, but you can't have them in every community.
Yeah,
They
but
are
those are not
banned.
dogs, those are human
They're
beings. In every
they're
part of
banned in
the
Europe. Oh my God. Well,
every
those
part
people are a different breed of a human.
what?
You said it's a different breed. Those people are a different breed of humans.
No, I said it's a different
That
type. I don't think I said
a different. Well, they're a different type of human.
yes,
It's the same thing.
but they still are supposed they still should be afforded the same rights as everybody else. And
Show some
specifically,
pit bulls.
not to have fights
HQ.
in public because they're gay. Not to have fights in public because they're dressed funny. Not to have fights in public because they choose to live as a white woman instead of a man. They have rights just like we do. Of course, I'm not pushing back about stuff in school. You don't want your
Hey, HQ,
child.
the only rights they gonna get is this right hand, all right? So kill that.
Oh
United
my.
States of Triple X, and the only rights you get is this right hand.
You have the right to tell them you don't want your children to be in school and you don't want your children to be affected by that. But they also have a right to walk around free from
And
being
nobody.
beat up, free from
HQ.
being called names.
If you do something that if I could get into a let's say I get into a scuffle with Ty, right? And me and him get into a fight. The police come, we both go home or we go to jail or something like that. Let's say I get into a scuffle with somebody of that type of person. I'll get extra time in jail just because I got into a fight with this person. They get special protections and security just because they are a different type of person. Do you understand that? Do you know that? Do you
Yes, I
understand?
understand
They have
that.
a different level of
So
protection.
that's horrible.
And you get into it, and the same thing. It happens across the board, don't it? Or is
No,
it
it
something?
No,
doesn't. If me
no.
and Ty get into a
Two
fight,
black
it's a
people get into a
simple.
fight. Yes, it's the
If
same.
if
It's you're
me
on
and
the same
Ty,
level.
if No, it
You're on
isn't.
the
If me
same
and Ty
level.
get into a
No.
fight, it's a simple assault. If I get into a fight with a gay dude, it's all kind of mitigating
It's a
factors. They'll
hate
boost
crime.
my
It's a
time up.
hate
Okay.
crime.
It's a
Ain't
hate
there ain't
crime.
there ain't there a
They'll
mitigating
give me
factor
like
that
20 years.
but ain't there a mitigating factor that you get into problems when you have a fight with me?
With domestic violence? No, you
Yeah.
go to jail for a couple of days and you be right out. You get into a fight with one of those type of people, you
It's
can
called
kiss the
discrimination, right?
baby. No, it's not called discrimination. They will lock your ass up and throw away the key. It's a
Then
hate
that's called
crime.
yes, it's a hate crime against a different person that's protected under the
No,
civil
it's
rights.
it's a hate crime against somebody in a protected class. What Black
Okay,
America
And
is trying to
so
explain to
they
you
they're
is
under the protected class, right?
Should they be under a protected class any more
Right.
than Ty or me
But the
Exactly.
or
protect,
Lex?
I thought the protected class was the Civil Rights Act. It's another thing, a protected class. It's a
No,
law.
no, no.
That's why, once again, that's why the Civil Rights Act has went too far. It's too broad. They are a protected class of people. If you get into a fight with one of them, me as a straight man, I get into a fight with one of those men, they are going to send me away for a long time. Me and Ty could beat the shit out of each other on the streets and we'll be out the next day. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
so
trying to
therefore that should tell you not to get into a fight with somebody. That should tell you you should leave them alone. You should never be calling them the G word, as you say.
HQ, you can't determine
HQ,
what's
you
going
can't
to happen at
regulate, man.
any given time. You
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 can't
don't you
regulate
don't
men,
know
man.
you don't know how things are going to act
Yeah, but that's
or
just
act
like
out.
me saying that's just like me. That's just like a white person coming out of their cells and then and get into a fight with you and call you the N word. That's a matter of you having no
H,
kind of control.
and HQ, I won't get charged with a hate crime for that. You don't get no time for that. It's a simple assault.
Oh, okay, so you want to beat them up so you won't get in. You won't have no. You just want to be able to beat them up and not get all the time.
No, I didn't say none of us are
Hey,
going out
hey,
and physically accosting anybody, HQ. I said
Nicole
if you
trolling in the
so
chat.
happen, I say if you so happen to get in a fight with one, anything can happen. They are men too. They have
Mhm.
attitudes too. Gay people, they get crazy. They get crazy too. You once again, you don't know because you're not a man and you've never had to deal with a man that acts like a woman. That's the plain simple of the truth. But I'm finna watch because you running my blood pressure up. I think I need a shot of tequila. I'm finna go back in the casino. I didn't have to leave the damn casino.
Oh, it's been so long since I've been to a casino. It's been like 8 years. Oh God. Oh
You
man.
need a drink, HQ.
Man, the last time I was in a casino, I blew like $3,000. Oh.
So
Oh crap.
you could have just gave me that, and I
Yeah,
would have
you
I
made
was
can't
it
on,
worth
trade
your
hey,
me.
I was
while.
on vacation. I was cutting up, but I was winning
Woo.
though. But I blew 3,000, and
That
I won.
must have
I won a
been
couple
this.
times.
This must have been post Philo. I take it, huh?
This was right after. This was right after me. Like hell
Oh
yeah, it would have been.
wow,
He'd
wow.
have been like, "Itch, what's wrong with you?" As a person, what's wrong with you? Yeah, a
Yeah.
long, long time ago.
Hey,
No, a long time ago. No, it was like no, not 8 years. I want to say 4 years or 5 years. Yeah, something like that. 4 years or 5 years.
okay, okay.
Okay.
Hey, HQ, what happened to the Kevin Samuels and Kendra G content? You just
I
all
don't know this
politics now?
content. This content. I've been working on this content. I just been
I
working on this
see.
content.
You've been dedicated though.
I've been
I ain't
working on this
mad. I'm
content.
not mad. I'm not mad. It's your platform. I'm just was
But see,
curious.
here's the pushback. We still have the pushback from why would Charlie Kirk say that you should just get rid of the whole thing? Why would you do that?
Charlie Kirk is a racist. We've already established that. So that's of course why he would say that. What are we talking about?
Why do we have
And
pushback on that
and
still when
and
that's
he was not just a racist though. He was a special kind of racist that could wrap racism and patriotism and Christianity so that
mhm,
white people could be racist without saying they thought that right now white people feel like they should be able to be racist without being called racist because it's Christianity and patriotism. It's not racism. We just want you niggers to stop
yeah,
killing each other. Like
right,
that's the 2025 update for
right.
racism.
Yeah.
They
Hey,
wanted to be the free. What is it called? They want free speech to include being able to say that. That's what it is. They
yeah.
want to be able to say that, and free speech be involved with. Hey, look, I
Right.
can't push back on it, but
That's a great point you just made, Ty, about his able to weave all of it together. And let me just say this. I'm gonna say one more thing about it, and then we're gonna get back to the topic. Yeah, bring back the Kevin Samuels at least twice a week. I need something to come up here and make fun of people. At least twice a week, HQ. We need a lounge up here now.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that back at 6 o'clock, the 6 o'clock show. I was gonna bring it back at the 6 o'clock show. I was gonna do that, at the on Wednesday because I had something to do today and tomorrow. So I didn't get in until X, Y, and Z.
Okay,
So okay, I'll bring that back Wednesday.
Yeah, bring it back.
And the love letters too. The love letters, I wanted to bring those back on Saturday. Yeah.
At least, I got to come in here and make fun of some stupid people on there that come up
Triple
there.
X. You don't see all these stupid people that be in the chat. I be cooking their ass. Boy,
I know you be on their head.
It's a whole level of
Yeah, but the whole point was
stupidity in the
they
chat.
don't. It's a lot of folks. It's a lot of folks that just don't see it because they don't understand that racism isn't just somebody calling you the hard ER word. They think if you ain't talking 2 point crazy, right? Like today, right? This morning I was driving and I was listening to this conversation on TikTok, right? Because I don't know the TikTok boxes. I ain't really cool with the TikTok boxes, right? So I went in there and there was one white dude on the panel of a whole bunch of black dudes, and that's all he kept saying was the hard ER. I own you. I got a chain around your neck. X, Y, and Z. These people that got real bold about what they're gonna say when they do.
That's a new content creation tactic. Being a racist white guy. That's a new, and there's other demographics. You got to watch some Antonio Speaks and some Jew Almighty. They talk about it a lot. I'm definitely gonna be talking about that. But it's a new everything is content now, and that's a new tactic to get views because doing that. So the most profitable thing to do on TikTok, YouTube, Kick,
Right.
Twitch is to talk shit about black people. The second most profitable thing used to be talking shit about black women. And since that has died down, these people are moving into just demonizing the whole black community because that's just the new grip. That's the new meta. It used to be reacting to Kendra G. Then before that, it was reacting to Kevin Samuels. These are just like the talking points that go viral. Right now, if a white person get on TikTok and say the hard ER, he going viral. People will think it's cute. It's so many different types of content. You got the Asian girl that cook everything in Hennessy and say the N word. You got the white dude that go around to barbershops calling people the N word. It's just something that they think is cute.
Yeah, like what Crowder did. What Crowder did, that was for just complete attention, clicks, and views. He
was
had
trying to be
no
Kirk.
solutions.
He was trying to be the
offered no
new Charlie
solutions.
Kirk.
It was trolling. Yeah, he had no solutions.
He was just trying to be the new Charlie Kirk. He ain't do shit but spit a whole bunch of Charlie Kirk talking points. Was getting cooked, and then I just posted Media Man debunking everything he said on my last show.
I seen that. Yeah, he got turned back hardcore on that.
Yeah. So,
and it's the whole and in this platform, I want people to not listen to just accept everything I say. You got to do research because we need more people to do research when they hear stuff instead of just listening and going. And that's why I tell people they zombies. If you a zombie, that means you never push back on nothing somebody say. You just listen to their talking point and then you just listen to it and you absorb it and you don't do no kind of critical thinking beyond it. That's why I say to people, don't listen to what I say. Do the research.
They don't
That's
have
all.
critical thinking or nuance. That group of people like the Sharon Andrews in your chat or the Punch or all these racists with just confused motherfuckers in your chat, they don't believe in science, history, uh biology. They don't believe in critical thinking. They just believe in the Bible and whatever Republican is telling them is law and patriotism and wave the American flag. They don't believe in too much. They brain cells are are mutilated from too much incest and meth in a genealogy. So they fucked up.
See, the whole thing is you gotta pull him out of the, Osmo. Did somebody block Osmos? Did they block him or did he
He,
leave?
I think he left because I said something. You know, he been making videos about you, and
Mm-hmm.
he ain't got one view yet. And I said something about it, and I ain't seen him in the chat since he ran off. I'm like, damn, Osmos, you doing HQ reactions, talking a whole bunch of shit, and you ain't got one view for it yet. And
Mm.
he ain't popped back up. He ain't pop. He probably watching and listening, but he's a sensitive fella. That's a sensitive guy.
No, Sharon Andrew, that you wrong about that. I push back. I accept other people's views. I just have my own. I accept theirs. People have different views than me.
Hey, Tara Pro, what's the name of his channel, man? He's a goofy
What
guy.
what
What
is that? I
Osmos?
gotta go over there.
Osmos
Hell no.
God. It ain't
I gotta
nothing
go over
over
there.
there but some crying, sassy tether. Y'all don't want to
He
go over
says
there.
Osmos what?
God,
Osmo.
Osmos God, OSMOS God.
Okay.
Yeah, he ain't doing shit but crying about HQ not understanding and playing a bunch of raccoon ass black people to prove his point, doing exactly what these talking heads do on the internet. Ain't doing shit.
Mm.
You know what I'm
See
saying?
that? I mean, I just want you to. I just want. I will push back. I will push back because it's fun to push back, and it's fun for people to come up with their own arguments. Great, come up with your own arguments. I push back on whatever you got to say. I get it. I do. The whole point is with Mr. Osmos. It's like you're one of those. You're one. I can't. I can't with. I cannot with people who vote against their own interest or talk against their own interest.
And he's a Haitian, and he's a product of self hate.
Yeah,
He is a tether,
Haiti is in the worst state of any country in the world right now, too.
and that's why his family came over here on a banana boat. And he just don't. He want to align himself with anti-black talking points. I don't have patience for nobody that got anti-black talking points
No,
and
no, it's not a
HQ.
matter of anti-black talking points. What happened was he came on the internet and you absorbed. When you
Mhm.
absorbed a lot from the internet, and then it's like these are your thoughts instead of critically thinking those thoughts through. You know what I'm saying? He absorbed all of these talking points on here. He absorbed it without even critically thinking.
A
Instead of
lot.
saying that don't even sound right for black people, let me look that up. He didn't do that. That's all. He just didn't do that.
And I was telling Jay Tillman about this on my stream. A lot of black people have traumatic relationships with black people. Like he still, a lot of black people hold on to being teased as kids. Oh, you
Mhm.
talking white? Oh, you an Oreo and all of this. And that's just young people shit. If you fat, you gonna get called fat. If you this or that, and a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
it's gonna
people
be a
don't.
lot of ripping.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and they don't let that go or
Yeah,
grow
they don't
out
get
of that.
over it though.
And
No,
once you
no, no,
see
no,
people on
no.
the internet that validate
Mhm.
those feelings and it becomes hatred, this is the same thing that people before the internet they used to do this at rallies. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? This is how Trump got elected the first time. This
Mhm.
is how people rise to power off of hatred and bigotry because they speak to those traumatic experiences or traumatic or problematic views on a group of people, and then somebody who sounds intelligent and seems like they got something going on validate those feelings inside of them like a fresh and fit. Fresh and fit are especially Myron is a goofball who ain't never gonna get a woman outside of tricking, but he was able to validate feelings that that resentment incels have against women for not being able to get women, and that's how they grew their
Yeah,
followers.
yeah.
Wait a minute,
Myron.
hold on, Ponce. Ponce, this is a channel run by a black person, but this is not a channel ran by a racist black person. No, not a racist, a prejudiced black person. That's the difference. The difference is I'm not over here bashing white people. I'm not over here bashing black people. I'm not bashing anything. I'm more of a content creator that is giving you factual information. When you come over here, I'll have a subject and I'll give you information regarding that subject. This ain't a channel where you come over here and say, oh, okay, they talk about white people. That's not how that goes. I don't talk about white people like that. I have white friends. I have no white people. I work with white people. I don't have a thing against white people or black people. You notice when I'm over here, you don't ever hear me say, well, them black women need to stop having them babies and getting pregnant and all that. Because I'm not trying to bash people. I'm just trying to present a fact. And then you may have a different fact and we can go back and forth. But it's not a channel where you got to come over here and worry about somebody calling you a cracker. That's why I get so upset. That's why I get pissed off. I got pissed off at Osmos God because he was low key trying to shade me, and I don't like people.
What did he do? What did he do? I missed that.
I don't know what the fuck he said. Something about I can't really remember, but somebody said something, and then he said, "Oh, she too dumb to figure that out."
What? Oh,
I
he was talking crazy.
I don't like people to low key shade me.
Yeah,
you gonna come out and call me a name. You come out and call me a name, and we stand on equal footing.
No, I get you. Yeah. I would never go that far. I ask you, are you trolling, like playing with us?
Right.
But yeah, I ain't gonna just be like, oh, you a dumb girl and all that. Yeah,
no, he didn't say those words.
Yeah.
That's what his intention. That's what his meaning was. He was just trying to be low. He was trying to be low key shady.
Yeah,
right?
I get it.
That's why I was like, okay, he's trying to be low key shady, because if you notice, I won't call you anything unless I call you a zombie. And I only call you a zombie because I feel like you need to start doing research instead of taking my word for things, instead of taking the Republican word for things. You need to do your own research and then come back and have an argument. But if you don't have an argument and you just say I'm lying, she's lying, she ain't telling the truth, she don't know, she don't understand what she's wrong, then I call you a zombie.
Okay. But do you peep how chameleon like he was? Because he would be on the panel where you was doing Kevin Samuels and Kendra G, and he'd be on some trying to blend in with the fellas type of ish. And I have a real good I have a real good feel on people, and I knew he was full of shit. And his true colors didn't come out till he started doing the political stuff, and he started talking shit about people and all of that stuff. But yeah, your channel, I wouldn't even say is a black channel. I would say you just have a reaction to you doing your political reaction thing. You a
you had some
Democrat.
characters come up here.
Yeah,
no, I'm not. I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be. I just want it to be. See, people don't be informed about certain things, so I try to inform them in a different type of way. Look, I never said my IQ was 200. I never said my IQ was anything like that. I just said I like to give this kind of content, and I'm not going to be so racist. Okay, whatever, Ponce.
See, now
I'm done arguing with you about that.
My channel is a black channel, and all we doing is talking about black shit over there. But I have white people in my chat. Like, y'all welcome, but you can't be over there.
Yeah, Chelsea Lynn White, ain't she?
Yeah, Aaron Lauren from the Black House, Reed Pink, they all pull up over there.
We have no hostility. We are not trying to have any hostility to white folks at all. We have hostility to Republicans, maybe. But we don't have hostility towards white people or black people or anything above. We got bigger fish to fry in this country and the reason why you don't see me do too much relationship content is because I feel like we got bigger fish to fry in this world.
Besides, and I peep that, and I love that though. I love that about you, like baby.
I mean, I ain't mad at that.
We got bigger fish to fry. Don't you think we got bigger fish to fry? I
ain't mad at that.
We got too many things going on for me to see. I look at it this way. It's not that difficult to fall in love with somebody. I get that you don't want to get hurt when it comes to relations. I get all that.
Nobody wants to.
You want to be precise and you want to do X, Y, and Z. I get that.
Yeah.
But it's never been difficult if you just throw yourself out there. And I feel like people don't want to throw themselves out there. So if you don't want to throw yourselves out there and people want to get on here every day, every night, talk about she bad, he bad, she gonna cheat on me, he gonna beat me up, blah, blah, blah. And when you do that,
It's safe
that
to
is
say
one of
though,
the reasons
HQ.
why I am not on. That's why you don't see me on people's panels, because I can't do that relationship shit no more. I just can't do it.
I respect that. I think it's safe to say women probably got the most aversion though. You know, I mean, of course, men's got their concern and everything, but they continue to pursue for the most part, and you know, and inner things. But I know women, the guys have probably done some women wrong. That's for sure. I don't doubt that. But unfortunately, after that's happened 2 or 3 times, they've a lot have held that grudge.
No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I'm not saying anything is wrong with relationship and X, Y, and Z. What I'm saying is, y'all gonna have to figure it out.
Yeah, I get what you're
Otherwise,
saying. You're not interested in talking about it anymore.
Right, because we go around in circle, and that's all it takes is two good human beings. That's all it's going to take.
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
it's a maturity.
Right. It's a maturity, and so that's why I said, okay, I can't do the relationship. I can't. That's why it took me a year to get even in front of the camera, because I didn't want to talk about relationship thing, and it was only that I got pulled into it from Mr. Walker and Mr. Gavin that I got into it. Otherwise, I never would have got on camera and started talking about relationships things, because I was just putting out videos. You notice in all my early videos, at least 1,000 of them, I'm not on camera because I didn't want to be, and I only got on camera for Mr. Walker and Mr. Gavin. That's it. Otherwise, I would have been doing this kind of content, but I got into the middle of doing this.
Okay. So I see what you're saying. This content was always your goal.
Yes, it was always my goal. I just didn't know. I was navigating YouTube, and then I got into it with Mr. Gavin, Mr. Walker, and I was like, okay, maybe that's what I want to do. And then I found myself, that ain't really what I want to do. But I'm obligated to help Mr. Walker, Mr. Gavin. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And then I met all of y'all. Then I was like, blah, blah, blah. Do I really want to do content? And then I got into this. And then I was like, okay, this is where I want to be right here. So this is where I'm at.
You do good. You do good in this space too.
So I do romantic content. I mean, I'll do, I was thinking about Kevin Samuels the other day. I was like, damn, I want to do a video on Kevin Samuels, goddamn it.
Well, shit, you should have did it.
Yeah, but I didn't want the goofy people to come in and start doing some goofy shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Ty Pro would have roughed them up. They would have got stomped out. Shit, and got hit with a straight left, right, equal rights and left. Shit.
So I was like, I would love to do it, and then I wanted it to be a pleasant, fun. We have a panel, we're going to talk.
Because HQ, a lot of the old school cat like Aaron, Zeus, come on, like those was good times.
Right.
I would love to hear you, Aaron, and Zeus get in on some of these political conversations. Definitely would love to hear them talk about black topics too.
Wait a minute, hold on. I need to tell y'all Ty Pro specifically and Triple X. The name of the channel is Sell You Like. Y'all ever been on a Sell You Like podcast?
No.
Woo. Coon, boy. Y'all be over there fighting. Y'all be over there.
Man, I'll be.
It's called Sell You Like Podcast.
I got raccoon fatigue. I'm not gonna hold you.
Not that he is. All of his chat. And
how you spell the name of his podcast?
That's how I said Sell, SELL with an underscore U underscore light LITE or LIGHT podcast.
Okay.
And so you go over there and they have political discussions too. He's just like me. He said, I ain't doing no D&P conversations no more. We doing political content. So I was on his panel the other day. I was on his panel the other night. And we were having a discussion and it was back and forth. And it was a lot of misinformation over there. And you know what? It was somebody else's panel. I didn't want to get kicked off, so I was silent most of the time. Right?
Yeah.
So you can't fight all of them when you got 30 people looking you in the eyeball talking about you a liar. Trump is the best. I was like,
Hey, I'm gonna say this though.
Okay.
Like, I don't want to derail this conversation too much, or whatever.
It ain't gonna get
But
derailed.
yeah. You got some interesting political views, though. I didn't know your interest in politics was this heavy. So no, it's interesting to see. That's all.
No, I've always had an interest in politics. It's just that
Yeah,
I didn't
I'm just saying I didn't know. Yeah.
yeah, we just didn't understand. They over there, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll say that, Nicole. I'll say that. Okay. I'll say that. Okay. I'll say that. You know what I'm saying? You see Nicole's question, y'all?
What she say? They talk down on black folks over there. I'm so
Mm.
tired of that. And just like the white
It's
people
always
do.
the nigga. It's always the nigga. It's
Look,
always they fault and they the victim and victim and victim. It's
victimized.
that. Yeah, it's that.
This the new thing with these spaces, especially, and I called this out early, like I seen it
Mm-hmm.
months ago.
Mm-hmm.
They move the talking about black women all day long shit is dead. Like that's just not really a good space to be in to really grow like that. Like if you establish with your audience, you
Right.
good, but trying to grow your audience off of just talking about black women, that shit is dying. It'd be done and dead. They had hope with the food stamp shit. That gave them some hope. But the new space is talking about black people as a whole, Nug
Mm-hmm.
Nug and Bone Quisha,
Mm-hmm.
because we want black people to do better. That's the same bullshit these racist motherfuckers spew talking
Mm-hmm.
when whatever the fuck his name is that went to the barbershop. That's
Mm-hmm.
the same type of shit that they spewing.
And that
But
hurt my heart. That hurt my heart when I see it hurts my heart when I see us doing that, and then we have an audience that has white people in it, and then it's like you're confirming
you
or
validating it. And that's
validating.
what I be trying to say, and I get backlash for calling it out. I'm calling you,
Right.
I'm telling you, you got self-hating talking points. I'm calling you raccoon, and now I'm the bad guy because I'm insulting people. But you can insult Ray Ray and Bone Clisha all day, but nobody supposed to take offense to being called that. But when
Mm-hmm.
I say you're talking from a self-hating black person's perspective with racism adjacent talking points, I'm
Mm-hmm.
the bad guy. But it's all a grift. People just do shit for content and they
Yeah.
always want to feed off of our community for content. And I don't respect that shit. I don't respect that
Right.
bullshit, bro. I'm on code with mine and I stand on business with mine. All black people ain't perfect. All
Right.
black people ain't the
Yeah.
bottom of the barrel. And yeah, it is some that is, but
Right.
who's not? Fuck all that. I
Yeah.
feel
So
I'm
yeah, I believe it.
I
I believe that you have a right to do X, Y, and Z. But I'm not going to be performative for other races of people. I'm not
yeah,
going.
it's like y'all don't see what you doing. You validating you want to
I,
post
I,
black
yeah,
people
I,
or
I get what you're saying, Ty. I get the
Yeah.
gist of what you're saying
yeah.
on that. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
I don't think it's wrong to have the conversation, but I think if a platform is just all out dedicated
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
just to that,
Focus
just a
only on that.
complete, yeah, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not intellectual conversation and discourse
There's
of
no
all improvements that
so
could be made, then
there's no
yeah, that should be
solutions.
concerning.
Right. Right.
There's
So
no
it's the solution thing. It's the solution thing that I have a problem with. Yeah.
and
That
then you too extreme with what you saying and you bordering spewing the same rhetoric like 13% of the population commit 50% of the crime, which we
right.
know is a false statement.
Right.
But these black people are spewing the same type of shit, or they trying to do it softly. They don't want to commit wholeheartedly to it, but they got one foot in the coon box and one foot out. And I don't respect that shit. I'm never gonna respect that shit. I wouldn't respect it in person. I'm not gonna respect it online because it's such a racial hateful time right now. What
Mm-hmm.
would y'all people have been doing in 1960? Would you be doing this shit when
Right.
Martin Luther King is giving speeches and Malcolm X is giving speeches and people are being killed? That's the stance you gonna take?
Right.
And then if that type of shit was to happen by the end of the year, just being hypothetical, the
Hmm.
fucking these races that say, "Woo, let us go door to door, civil war, let us handle the blacks." If that type of shit was to be to pop off, what you gonna do? You think you gonna be safe because you was hating on black people, and you think you're not gonna get lumped in with Nug Nug and Bone Quisha too? You're
Right.
not safe. So why stand against your people when you got people? Why use your platform like
But
this? You
that's
know,
not the, but that's not the argument. The argument is they do it, so why can't I talk about it? That's the argument I heard. Well, they really do act like this, so why
because
can't
they
I talk
because they
about
can pick 100 videos of black women getting repoed or Nug Nug running into the Nike store, and that proves and validate their point. But you can't quantify black positivity. If you play 3 hours of black people doing positivity, you're not gonna have the audience that you're gonna have showing Bone Quisha fighting at the nail salon and motherfuckers getting arrested, and you're not gonna have the same type of audience, and that's why it's not respected.
it?
Because
Mm,
you could find just as much black excellence online as you find in black negativity, but you just help and feed the propaganda of people saying all I see is black people doing dumb shit online, so y'all must be the problem race, and they don't look at it like that, or they just don't want to hear it. But you doing a white man, you doing a racist white man work for him. If there is white racist people in control, you doing the work for them. That's like selling your soul.
yeah, I mean it's a weirdo thing. It's not a new thing because uh Anton Daniels been doing it. Been doing
Oh.
Brandon
it.
Tatum.
I mean, they've been doing it. They've been doing it. Now you know they done been doing it, so they've been doing it. But
Watch
see,
out,
look,
HQ.
but listen, there's a big difference. Look at some people who do it, and then look at how he does it. Some people say we got problems in the community X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. There's a whole different thing with some of these people and what they say, how they say it. Okay, and
Yeah,
so
well,
you know,
you know what the problem is with those guys, HQ?
mhm,
Most of those guys, when you get to talking about Brandon, what's his name? Brandon Tatum, Anton Daniels, and
right,
of those ilk,
right,
those are people who came from the most part intact black families. The
mm,
mother was married. You got a dad. Everybody in the family's married. And then, like I talked about what ended up happening with Anton. He ended up inheriting millions. You know, rest in peace to his dad. But you know, so he's used to structure in a level of some refinement to the family and group. So when he sees a lot of this stuff, it is uncouth to him. However, he's out of touch because many in this race has to grow up and not have a situation that was as good as his. You know, and
so
you
what I
have to
say,
keep that in mind.
you say what I say, Triple X, he takes advantage of the situation
No,
and
no,
he
I
knows
agree with
better.
that. I don't
He
disagree.
knows better.
Yeah,
He knows exactly what he's doing.
yeah.
Right.
He knows where the
Because
money is.
even him being in the manosphere was him grifting. So it makes sense for him. Because that's
Right,
what he do. He's just hustling, grifting, and getting about his money.
right.
And it is what it is. I'm not gonna, respect.
And
And the thing,
I ain't gonna knock none of those people that get their money and you grift. But don't pretend like we don't know that's what you're doing. I understand
but
what you're doing.
it's the
Okay.
flash in the pan. Because when you stand 10 toes down on something, that's the most transparent thing you could do, and that's what really relates to people, and that's
Yeah,
what is
because
about longevity.
ultimately, they don't have black people riding with them like that. You know?
Mm,
And that's why Anton, it's funny you mention that, Ty. This is a perfect example. Anton got a channel, he got another channel because he got a lot of them. He made
yeah.
a video where he was complaining that he didn't get an invite to the Hudson's, the new Hudson building grand
Downtown.
opening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that shows, even though he just crossed 1 million subs, that shows he's not who he think he is.
Mm.
You
And
know,
he's a
he's like
hood
one of those
nigga.
guys in the city or whatever, man. So That just goes to show you, you know, if
That
you
dude
really
is
out there and you mashing like that, you will get that big dog respect. It'll come through there. Yep,
Right.
that's what it
Right.
is.
he
Yeah,
he
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he he a hood nigga that had money, and you could tell the way he walk, dress, and talk. He from that way. He just smart about what he do. I ain't gonna never take that from him. He done built a
Amen.
big
Yeah, 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 yeah,
platform.
yeah, yeah. I'm not.
Amen.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not saying he's an idiot or anything. No, no,
No,
no,
we
no,
ain't
no,
mad.
no, 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 no,
We
no, no.
ain't
I'm not
mad.
saying
We
that.
ain't mad at him. He got his
Yep.
hustle on. We ain't mad at him. Do your thing, but don't
Yep.
pretend like we don't know. What the reason
Yeah, yeah. I know. I know what
even
it is. I know what it is.
he
You
don't
want
even
some bro.
say anything. You know what I'm saying? He don't even approach his haters, and he really don't say nothing to them because he know we know what he doing. That's cool. We know what you doing. It just is what it is. I just don't respect it. But it's just me. It is what it is. But y'all
You
get the hell off my panel. It's time for you to go bed.
all right? Thank
Give
you
me
for
your
All
having
final
right.
us up
thoughts. Give me
here.
your final thoughts on this. And
Uh,
yeah, and I will try to do one or two things as Kevin Samuels this week because I sure was gonna do it this weekend, but I couldn't get it, and I couldn't get into it. I couldn't
All
get it.
right.
I
Okay.
don't
Well,
know.
all right, baby. That's all I got to say. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Triple. Thank you,
peace
Triple.
out, Triple. Peace,
All
Thank
bro.
you.
right. Yeah.
My thing would be with the civil rights.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine when civil rights was implemented, the people that were suffering, the pushback that people were getting when they were fighting for civil rights, getting
Mm-hmm.
dogs sicked on them little girls being bombed in the church.
I gotta
People
ask you
were
a question. I
people were. Go ahead, go ahead.
I'm gonna ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
What if Donald Trump tried to repeal these things?
I mean, that's why I'm a firm believer that black people need to be on code right now because the future is uncertain. It always was, but it's definitely more
Uncertain.
uncertain now. And if he was to repeal those things, and we got so many people raccooning, and we got so many people misusing and abusing their platforms and
Mm-hmm.
causing division and looking down on segments of the black community and we got
Mm-hmm.
all of that shit, we would never, ever, never be able to do the things that our ancestors was able to do for us before we came here. You know what I'm saying? The 60s, the 50s, the 40s. We don't have no we talking about food stamps when the Black Panthers was out here making sure children was able to eat before they go into school when they got out of school. We don't I don't hear not one of these people with these platforms saying, look, we're gonna do $100, $200 giveaway to people that's about to be impacted by food stamps. But you can
Right.
make money talking
Right.
about bum Keisha crashing out about food stamps, but ain't nobody out here trying to help nobody
Right.
that's about to go through this because you think that you're better than them and you think you so far removed from them when you could be in a blink of a motherfucking eye right there with them wishing your EBT would come on. And that
Hell yeah.
shit weak as fuck. Weak than a motherfucker. I got 120 subs. I work hard as fuck. And I'm thinking about how I could do something to give back to people that's gonna be impacted. I got people on my Facebook that's volunteering to take people to the grocery store and buy them food. That's what the fuck we need. We don't need all of this. Look at her. She got a wig on and baby hair. No, we need motherfuckers to come together. You so worried about the black family and the black community, and we cooked and we finished. Nigga, do something for them. That's what we need. We don't need all of this bullshit and hate like you came from somewhere better because you fucking came from the same shit.
But
Your
see, there's
peeps
a
is
whole
that
bunch of them online. There's a whole bunch of people online
fake.
joking and kidding about people finna lose their food stamp.
Like that shit, like that shit,
That shit
like
ain't
that shit a
funny.
joke. That shit not funny at all. Cause I done been through that shit as
Yeah,
a child and as an adult. I ain't always been straight as an
but
adult. I didn't
it's all because she don't deserve to be on food stamp because
cause
she
the
keep having babies. According to them, what they don't understand is it's the elderly and the disabled and the veterans. They gonna be the hardest hit.
man, what happened? What happened to looking out for people? Motherfuckers want to push all this Christianity shit. Jesus was feeding the poor. Jesus did not align with the oppressor. You think Jesus would be voting for Trump? You think Jesus have a MAGA hat on right now? Jesus was not with the oppressors. He was with the oppressed. Jesus was with the slums. Jesus was in the ghettos. What's wrong with you people? You
Okay.
motherfuckers is twisted, lost, and brainwashed. And trust me, when the dust settle, only the real shit gonna survive and stand tall because we built for more than just being fake and phony and,
Right.
and bending towards whatever we think gonna get us out away from the rest of the people. When you could
This.
walk, but
Right.
but trust me, when we all back on the ground level cause shit fucked up, you gonna be hiding in the corner cause you didn't talk so much shit about the motherfuckers that's running in your crib.
It's gonna be something else come November 1st. When is November 1st? Ain't that Friday,
Next
Saturday?
week, next week,
Saturday. I
it,
think
it's
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 Saturday.
it's gonna hit harder around Thanksgiving than anything because a lot of people stamps don't come on the first. You know, there's the 5th, the 10th, the 15th. But you
Mm,
know what I'm saying? You know what? I'm definitely already trying to figure out how I can help do some community service for Thanksgiving. And
right.
I don't even really celebrate that type of. I don't like Thanksgiving food like that, but I definitely want to take my kids because my dad used to do that with me. We used to do a lot of community service. He
Right.
does he do a school bus. He fill a school bus up with toys for Christmas kids with women that's in abuse, like them domestic violence homes and stuff. He fill up school buses and deliver toys. He dress up like Santa Claus. You
Mhm.
feel me? Like I come from some real shit, so I
You
can
can you
never.
can buy they have all those they have those big gigantic bins.
Hmm.
Well, where I used in the north, they used to have bins where you could drop off bags of food, like bags of canned goods, into a big old container, and then they'll
Hmm.
they'll pass those out. I used to do that. I used to do that a lot. Put canned goods in the bins in those big containers so people could get it. Or I'd go to the shelter and buy a family a bunch of coats. How many people?
Hmm.
You got 3 kids and it's the mother. Okay, I'll buy y'all all coats for the winter time. Something like that. Just
Some, yeah, anything because it's gonna be a blessing to them people. I
right,
don't got a lot of bread. I just do what I can, but I got a bunch of old Jordans and Air Force Ones and clothes I don't wear. My
right.
kids got old toys they don't use. All that shit
You
about to
just
get cleaned
reminded
up.
me. Yes, yes, yes,
Hmm.
yes.
All that
Give it
shit
how you
finna get
know.
cleaned up and packed up and sent out. You know what I'm saying? You wanna make money off of this community. Why don't you help them? Because people gonna be really suffering. It's hard out here for everybody. It's
Right.
it's hard out here for everybody.
This
Even
is Thanksgiving. This is Christmas time. This is when people need help the most. This is
and
when
a and a
help
little
the
hope.
most.
That's
And
what the holidays is about. It ain't about all of that. Oh, you shouldn't celebrate Thanksgiving or Christmas.
right,
Sometimes people need some type of glimmer of hope that things gonna get better because you
right,
could get lost in despair. I don't know how people forget where the fuck they came from so quick, but you
right,
could get lost in despair. Sometimes you need a little hope. You ain't just because she might not want to say we gotta cancel Thanksgiving and Christmas or he, because it ain't just black women, it's black men too. I've been a black father fucked up trying
right,
to make it work.
right.
Sometimes you just need glimmers of hope in moments of despair. Yeah, you need to work hard and get on your shit, but we all here to love each other. What the fuck is the point of humankind if we not here to make sure, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what Jesus was about. That's some real shit.
And
All
that's the
that.
argument that I have with some of these Republicans. I say, I'm more Christian than you are, and I'm not even a Christian. I at least will have extend my heart to another human being. You can buy a bag of you can go to Aldi's or Walmart and buy a bag of canned goods and put it on somebody's porch. Somebody
Hmm.
you know got a whole bunch of kids. You could put a bag of food on their porch. You know what I'm saying? A bag of canned goods on their knock on the door. Tell them, hey, this was on your porch. You didn't even have got to tell them it was from you. This was on your porch. I'm ringing the doorbell so you can take it inside the house. And it'll
You ain't
be
gotta post
ain't
it online. You ain't gotta post
gotta
it
do
on
none of that.
TikTok. None. You can just look out because
Right.
it's
Cause these
I
people
would
gonna be hurt. These people
I
gonna be hurt.
I would feel better as a man doing that than benefiting off of just talking shit about somebody with a camera in my face. I
Right.
used to live in the projects when I grew up, and people talk about black people don't got community. Man, my mama and her circle of other women in them projects used to all look out for each other.
Mhm.
Like that
Mhm.
food swapping, clothes swapping, just whatever it took, babysitting each other, you know
Right.
what I'm saying, making it work. But
Right.
we keep creating this divisive mindset and segregating parts of the community like we just so much better than them. You know, you gonna put yourself in a situation where you never know when the table's gonna turn, but you do know them motherfuckers always will turn.
Put your thing in the chat, Natural KRC. Put your somebody can reach out to you. Put
You
that in the
got
chat.
you got me yapping and preaching, HQ. You know I love you. I appreciate you.
Okay,
I'm gonna
okay.
slide out
Thank
of
you,
here.
Ty. Thank you, Ty Pro. Thank you, thank you,
Yes,
thank you.
yes, peace.
Yes. You put your thing in the chat, Natural KRC. Somebody can reach out to you and do X, Y, and Z. When I used to work and I used to work at a Kellogg, I used to work there and we'd get they give out boxes of food. I used to get big boxes of food and I used to I used to get pallets of food, and I used to have like 4 or 5 boxes on there, and it used to have like 6 or 7 or 15 boxes of cereal in it. I used to pass those out in the neighborhood, and I knew there was single mothers, and I'd be like, tell your mother to come to the door and come get these boxes of cereal. Everybody come get boxes of cereal so they can be gone. See, sometimes you gotta think spending $20 at Aldi or Winco or wherever that. Sometimes spending $20 at Myers and Winco, it don't cost you nothing but $20. Go put it on somebody's porch that got a whole bunch of kids. Canned goods, some what is it, soup. Knock on the door and tell them, hey, I found this on your porch. A bunch of canned goods on your porch. Don't tell them it's from you. Just give it to them. $10, $20, anything. Cause these people gonna be messed up out here. Here's the thing. There's people out here who mess up over the food, who mess over the food or who be cheating or scamming. There's people like that, but the bulk of people ain't scamming, and they gonna be fucked up out here because they ain't got no food. Just go to Walmart or Meijer or whatever and buy a bag of canned goods. It ain't gonna cost you nothing but, I don't know, $15-$20, and put it on somebody's porch. Knock on their door and run. However you need to do it. Just be in a giving nature, because we're going to be messed up out here. We really are. Okay? We really are. So I appreciate all of y'all showing up. I appreciate it. This was the Civil Rights Act of 1964. We would be messed up if the Civil Rights Act was not intact. Yeah, people got to learn how to fast. And Kroger's, their meat is a little cheaper. Okay, so we got to do things to help other people. We just got to. Oh shoot! Thank you, Natural. $5 Natural KRC. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you, HQ. I only do it during spring and summer. Oh, okay. It's too cold now here in Chicago. I appreciate this combo. Good discussion. Thank you. I thank you. I appreciate y'all showing up. We gotta inform people. We want to inform people. I just want us to rise as a people, as human beings, white and black. We just got to get into, having these interesting discussions. I just like to have these kind of discussions. It just is what it is. There's a tamale lady that be in front of the local Walmart in cold. I'd be like, dang, she a real hustler. Yeah, I know, right? When it's cold, it's cold. It's cold out there. But I see y'all tomorrow. I will see y'all tomorrow. I won't be able to get back until like 9-10 o'clock tomorrow. But I will talk to you tomorrow. I appreciate y'all showing up. Thank you, Natural KRC. Thank you for the super chats. I appreciate it. I do. Thank you all. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.